Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, the audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to Travelers on the Omnibus, the show that owes everything to the creator of the choke slam, our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. No follow-up questions. I'm Brady Davis.
I'm Jody Kite.
I'm Ethan Skinner.
James McCarthy, the Ocean Springs Gazette. Sir, what do you mean?
No follow-up questions.
You must listen to the media, sir. You must answer.
There's actually some historical evidence that Abraham Lincoln might have been the first person to ever use a choke slam because he was a wrestler before he was a president. There's actually a written account of him while wrestling, taking a person by the neck and lifting them up in the air and slamming them down on the ground.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
More reasons why Abraham Lincoln's my favorite.
They called it the log cabin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was a badass motherfucker.
Yes.
Fought vampires and shit.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that.
He also fought zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That too.
According to the asylum.
Okay.
That's why John Wilkes Booth shot him. They were actually friends, and he knew that Abraham Lincoln got bit by a zombie, so he shot him before he could become a zombie.
You knew way too much about the asylum version of.
Well, the Asylum did not make Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. That was actually made by a major motion picture studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a book before him.
It was, and so was
the same guy who did Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter wrote Pride and Prejudice
and also wrote Sense and Sensibility and Sea Monsters.
Yeah, which those are literally just he like inserts pieces with like zombies into Pride and Prejudice. You read pieces of Pride and Prejudice. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the thing that we actually do. Jody, what have you been doing?
So a new game came out not too long ago, and it was actually free on PlayStation this month, and it's called Meet Your Maker. And it's got two modes. It's got the maker part, and then it's got the you have to play in other people's dungeons, as it were. It kind of like has the look of like a PS3 Doom 3 clone in a way. Kind of muddy. The textures are kind of a little bland and flat. But it's kind of fun because it's like going into it. You have these people that like set up these like sort of like traps. It's almost like a Death Trap Dungeon. Or there's another game that's like that on the PS1. I can't remember the name of it offhand.
I know which. I think I know
what
game you're
what I'm
talking about, but I can't think of the name either.
Where you set traps and you set where monsters spawn at, and then someone has to go in and like basically live through the level. And there's an item that you get at the end of it, and cooler than like actually being able to do that and playing through people's games, which is fine, is the actual world that you're in. So humanity as you know it, completely gone.
Oh, okay.
Everything that is sort of human has some sort of augmentation to it. And there's a lot of like really weird like genetic gene splicing going on just to carry on human DNA.
Okay.
They have to like, and that's what you like. Your trophy at the end of a level is basically human DNA. And then you bring it back to the mothership, and then you give it to this really weird looking floating embryo brain looking thing. That's supposed to be helping you like continue humanity on. And you use these genetic modifications to make your character stronger. And it's also used as currency that you can buy better weapons. And so it's kind of like a little bit of a grind because you have to play other people's bases for a while before you can actually build your own in order to get, so it kind of like gives you like a reason to do that and a reason to build your own. Because you get points for them. Like every time they die in your base, you get some currency for it. So it's like there's like an ebb and flow to it. It's not a perfect game. It's got a lot of flaws to it, but I think the game is like $30 if you have to actually buy it. So I would say it's probably worth checking out if you're into, just weird like puzzle games, because that's basically what it comes down to. And these motherfuckers are very creative where they put traps, let me tell you. And your starting weapon sucks. It's like a rail gun, and you have 2 bolts, and every time that you shoot like the last one, you have to go retrieve it. So if you miss something, you have like basically like a melee weapon, like a shitty ass sword, and trying to like go like mano a mano with some of these like cybernetic freaks is kind of scary. So I did that. That was pretty fun. And then I'll go into something else I did last night with Jay whenever we get to Jay if he wants to talk about it.
That sounds frightening.
Okay. Well, let's leave the people in suspense. Ethan, what did you do this past week?
My week hasn't been that. My week hasn't been exciting at all.
Are you stroking?
Quite possibly.
Okay.
I woke up about like 2 hours ago. So.
Oh yeah, it sounds it.
That'll
I'll tell you
do
that
it.
right now.
That'll do it.
It was Easter this past Sunday, so I got to see a good bit of my family, good bit of Bianca's family. Me and my siblings, we got together the other day.
How many eggs did you find? Did you get the golden egg?
I did find a golden egg.
Jesus Christ! I was just picking. What the fuck?
I did find a
so
golden
at work,
egg.
So at work, we had an egg hunt, and there were golden eggs, and he found one of the golden eggs.
I did find
everything
one
you
golden egg.
I didn't even tell you about that, and you just
Jesus.
That's crazy.
You walked right into that one. Host.
Yeah, I did.
So yeah, it's just been visiting family. Hang out
I
with
need to
my
know what
siblings.
was in the egg.
Yeah.
It was a ticket that you could redeem to.
Was it a
earn
golden
prize.
ticket?
A
Do you
golden
get to
ticket
go
and
to-
a golden
do you get to go
egg?
to?
It was
Do you get to
indeed
go
a
to Willy
golden
Wonka's
ticket.
chocolate factory? Don't fuck with the Oompa Loompas. That's the number one rule.
Also, don't steal fizzy lifting drink.
Yeah, that's the second rule.
Did a goose lay that golden egg? I want a goose that lays golden egg, Daddy.
You stole fizzy lifting drink.
Oh, somehow I ended up with like a crappy like pet egg callus remover that I just gifted Bianca because
Well, it was a gift for the girl.
Oh,
so
it was a
yeah.
crappy gift, so I'm just gonna give it to my girlfriend.
You just insulted your job and your girlfriend in the same sentence. That was fantastic.
I mean,
Two birds with one stone. Good job.
Or one egg.
Let's move on before Ethan digs a deeper hole.
imagine me just checking things off my list to do before I do
Yes,
it,
yeah,
okay?
yeah. So
I don't think Bianca listens to this. So
That's good.
she probably
She
doesn't.
doesn't.
She
She
doesn't.
doesn't.
That's
She
good.
She
doesn't.
says she does, but I know she doesn't.
Yes,
No.
she doesn't.
I
Well, you have to
specifically-
quiz her. Is what you have to do.
I specifically know because our analytics right now show we have no female listeners, which means one of two things: either she's not listening, or you have serious questions to ask her.
Yeah.
Jesus. Moving on, continuing to keep people in suspense. Because that's what you do. I watched a thing where Alfred Hitchcock talked about that, so I'm going to keep at it. I also didn't do very much this past weekend and this past week. Gabe actually came down. My son came down to see me, so we hung out a little bit. Didn't do very much, but we hung out a little bit. And this past weekend I'd been rewatching Deadwood because it'd been a little while since I've rewatched it, and I just felt like it. I'd started rewatching Justified, and I was like, you know what? It's been a very long time since I've rewatched Deadwood. So I finished that up and watched the Deadwood movie. The Deadwood movie is after you've just watched Deadwood, the Deadwood movie can be kind of annoying because there are times where it when it calls back to something in the show, it'll show a little clip of it, and it's like, I just watched this shit. Now I remember when I first watched the Deadwood movie, I appreciated that because some things I didn't remember, but watching them right after the other. But goddamn, it's a very good show. I really wish it would have got more time. It's just a really, really well acted. Like everything is damn near perfect. It kind of, I think this rewatch made it actually move up on like my favorite shows of all time. It's not my favorite. It's not my absolute favorite, but it's a bit up there. And I kept like thinking about like the differences between the character Seth Bullock and the character of Raylan Givens from Justified, which are both played by Timothy Olyphant. The parallels of them and I just got a lot from this. Now, it's a really good show if anybody, just watch it. It's only 3 seasons and a 2-hour movie, and it flies by because every episode is so good, and it's very, very interesting. And there is some historical stuff in there. There's a lot of historical characters, so I would highly recommend it. That's what I've been doing. So Jay, how's your week been?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jay, and here's it goes. Okay, so let me get this one out of the way. Finally, I was going to watch it last week, but time and the 50th episode celebration stuff kind of got in the way. But I finally saw the Super Mario Brothers movie. Too long, didn't read. Watch it. It's very good. If you want to wait for it to be on Peacock, that's fine. But I do not mind a single bit that I spent money in a movie theater. Skittles were very good. The drink, the popcorn and the drinks were also very good too. So I greatly appreciate that. Now, in what is now going to become the second installment in a little series we're going to call Grand Experiences at the Grand. We had one.
Yeah.
We had one last week with our erstwhile. Wait, no, you're actually still here, so you can't be erstwhile. You're with our host Brady Davis about children that were running amok. This is mine. So I'm sitting down. We're now at the preview stage. We're starting to see the previews, and one of the previews is for Blue Beetle, which I think it says Jolo Maradona is
I
Jaime
don't know
Reyes.
his name, but I know who the guy is.
Is Jaime Reyes, and just I'm excited. I'm digging this.
I saw the trailer for that. I actually liked Blue
looks
Beetle
pretty cool.
growing up, reading the comic.
It
So
looks pretty cool.
I like the guy who's playing them, but it's one of those things. It's a superhero movie. I might one day watch it, but I'm just so burnt out.
So
But yeah.
So at the end of this, and here's where the grand story starts. So I'm watching it, and George Lopez is there. George Lopez, I think, is like he's either an uncle or his father.
He's the uncle.
He's the uncle. Okay, and he has some wise uncle moments, which you always appreciate in these superhero movies. At the end of the thing, somebody at the end of the trailer, somebody brings up Batman, and George Lopez's character goes, "Batman's a fascist." Now, behind me and to my right, I hear a man go, "We'll see about that."
What?
What does that mean?
Wait.
Hang on. So me being me, I don't even look at the guy. I'm going like, Batman's not real. So hold on. We're about to grow that laughter even more. This guy is sitting behind me. He gets up. He walks behind, and he's getting my attention. I look over, and he does the fucking Rock Bring It, and then walks down the stairs, still looking at me.
he was challenging you.
What the fuck?
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, no. I didn't say it. I just I paid to watch a movie, not to get into a fight.
Yeah.
I broke this man so hard by just bringing up the reality that Batman is not real.
Santa Claus doesn't exist.
What? No. I wonder what would have happened if I read him in on that too. What the fuck?
Jeez, I don't even I can't even you could write a thesis about what he meant by we'll see.
We'll see about that.
What the fuck does that even mean?
It was enough to challenge me to a fight in the back of the Grand Theater.
He was already mad.
What
That Blue Beetle trailer pissed him off.
You are in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
This is a movie put out by Illumination, the same motherfuckers who make Minions movies. It is not that goddamn serious. What the fuck? This guy has Batman posters on his wall.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He has a replica Batarang. He jerks off thinking about Bruce Wayne.
Do you think I should have fought him?
No,
because he probably would have thrown a Batarang at you.
Motherfucker, I've got my Batman knife on me. We're going to find out who the real Batman is.
Fuck.
And the answer is no one, because he's not
What kind of person
real.
are you that you want to start a fight?
Let's throw down
in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Over Batman.
Over Batman.
Over a line about Batman at that.
What the fuck? Did he ever come back in, or did he just
I don't
leave?
know. I don't think he did. To be fair, and again, this is another great review on Super Mario. It had my attention all the time.
Okay.
I actually got through the whole movie. When I was done, I took a 2-minute long piss.
Right.
I held the bladder because I was enjoying myself. It was Super Mario, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it.
Do you think the guy paid his $15?
I have no. I don't even know.
No, he goes outside and waits for who knows how long. Goes all right, we're about to fucking throw down with the fucking cop car parked in front of the fucking theater. By the way, all the time.
I can't even put myself into the headspace. What the fuck?
We'll see about that.
We'll see about that. What did he mean?
That guy was freebasing angel dust.
Like, I also wouldn't have went out there, but part of me would have wanted to go out there. What the fuck did you mean by that? What does that mean?
Yeah, no, like, I'm going to say this right now. That question could haunt me to the rest of my days, but I will not allow it.
You know
to.
what you could have. You know what you could have done. You could have just went out there and went. Define fascist for me, and his brain would have. It would have done the thing like in the Doctor Strange movie where Black Bolt's brain just caves in. Like you would have seen that shit.
I want to know if I said define that.
Yeah.
What is that? What is every single word that's parsed? It's like
What the?
define we. Who's we?
Who's we?
We'll see about that.
We'll see about that. No, he didn't try to throw on a Batman.
He didn't try to do the Batman
We'll see
voice.
about that. It's like,
We'll
okay,
see-
man.
We'll see about that.
Okay.
He's not real.
That
We're
uppity
going
Mexican was saying
outside.
stuff.
Oh my God.
So that was another thing. So it's been a great viewing escapades over the last couple of days.
Yeah, the Grand is really like
the Grand.
like,
Yeah, the Grand.
I haven't had problems with the Grand, but apparently it's becoming a shithole.
No,
just don't mention Batman.
You
okay?
say it was a shithole. I'm going to say that was worth the price of admission as well.
Yeah,
I just
I mean,
shattered a
that was an
man's
ex-
vision that
that was an
Batman's real.
experience.
What the fuck?
I mean, as long as you don't mention Batman, then you ain't gonna have a problem.
I just want to imagine him like at work talking to one of his buddies, going like, "Man, you won't believe what happened to me. I spent $15 to go see this stupid Super Mario Brothers movie because apparently he didn't care about the movie, but didn't go back inside of it."
I don't know if, like I said, the movie had my attention.
Right.
He probably came back in.
Either
I don't
like
know.
either way, it's sad.
Right.
Because
Yes, it's very
either
sad.
he went outside and waited for you the entire, I would imagine, at least about 2 hours
Yeah.
of the fucking movie, or he went out there for an indeterminate amount of time and then had to go back inside and watch the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like
with me and my, I had the recliner back. Had my hand over here. I had defeated all of my enemies
What the
that
fuck?
day. And I was like, it was great. I should have gone out there and should have just gone, faith and be good enough. You beat me, you get me a pot of gold. And be like, I fought a leprechaun. Said Batman wasn't shit. And I don't know what's going on anymore.
was he like an older guy or was he?
I don't know. The lights and the thing. He
Yeah.
was at least a grown man.
Yeah.
Right.
He could have been 25. He could have been 45.
I guarantee you it was
don't
probably
know.
more the latter.
He's part of some militia that uses Batman symbolism.
He may not. He may
because
just
he's
be
a
a really
fucking
big.
idiot.
He may just be a really big fan of Batman.
I would
Yeah.
think so with whatever the fuck that was.
Got a shrine to, I don't know, Christian Bale or something.
I don't know. It's just. It was like this happened and like.
Christian, I'll let you, like he's praying at the altar. Christian, I'm sorry, I let you down. Some guy in this Super Mario Brothers movie.
Would that make him a
besmirched your
Wait.
besmirched your name?
So if he worships Christian Bale, does that make him a Christian? Like what is he? What is this? What is anything?
Jesus Christ.
We'll see about that. Okay, so yeah.
The
So,
yeah, I'm glad I ended on this because there's no
Yeah.
no way we could top this.
but yeah, no, viewing escapades have been running very well over the last 48 hours because, as Jody wonderfully alluded to, sometimes after show or just when we're just all hanging out together, we just get on YouTube and we just search things, and you never know what you might find when you just search things. And before,
fucking upholders algorithm.
yeah, fucking upholders. I wouldn't mind if it was my algorithm because I'm okay with just seeing anything because like it's all about sense. It's all about sensation. See what we can feel and what we can know.
All right, too much of that thinking is how you get Hellraisers.
And we like Hellraiser.
We don't like Hellraisers.
On the further regions of experience, demons to some, angels to others. We will tear your soul apart. Anyway, before I get interrupted again by more Clive Barker shit. So while we were all together last night, we started looking up some like sweet ass folk music stuff, like folk music, devil folk music,
Yeah, devil
metal-
doo-wop.
devil doo-wop,
Twin
metal-
Temple. Look 'em up.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing. Great.
Polyphia.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. We were having great fun times. Brady left, and it's like, okay, now let's search out some weird shit. And so it's like, I know, or was it you?
I did. I did.
Go, okay.
Okay,
Link in.
so we were just having a conversation about PBS, like growing up on PBS and watching like PBS shows. Shit, the Ethan, we're about to get into some stuff like it's gonna blow your mind.
One of these is going to be an episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this right now.
Okay, so there was this like less on the education, more on the attainment.
We're talking about the books, right?
We're talking about tomes and talismans.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Tomes and talismans. I want to set the stage.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the late 70s and early to the mid 80s, the Mississippi Broadcasting Company through Mississippi ETV was given grant money by the United States government to make educational series.
Yeah.
And so
viewers like you.
And the state of Mississippi produced a post-apocalyptic science fiction library sciences show called Tomes and Talismans.
I think I watched some of this.
And they uploaded. Hold on. They uploaded the first episode. This show came out in like 84 or something, or 85. They uploaded the first episode, but what we would find out later is because of like rights and things like that, they couldn't upload anymore. It's a really good. I would say it's really good. Half of it's really good. Half of it's really boring. And so the plot of the show is that there's this librarian who's trying to, like, the Earth is dying, right?
Yeah.
Or something. They're being invaded, right?
We're being invaded by the Wipers.
We'll get to that. We'll get to them in a second.
We're going to spend too much time on this, and what I legitimately think we need to do, not soon,
right?
But before episode 20 of this season,
right?
We need to do an episode of reviewing Tomes and Talismans because it's fucking crazy. I'm just gonna say, it's like space rednecks come to the planet to disrupt all of our communication systems.
Okay.
And so we leave for the Crystal Star Galaxy on teleporters. 100 years. Oh, yeah. And our last librarian is put to sleep by a giant black man wearing a Jedi robe.
Yeah, he's the all being or whatever.
The universal being.
The universal
you put
being.
respect on his name, goddamn.
Yeah.
He's in Tomes and Talismans. 100 years later, the users come to the planet. And they find the bookmobile that she was put asleep in. She was put asleep in a van filled with books. This is real.
What was her name, Jay?
This is real.
What was her name?
Mrs. Bookhart. Of course, the last librarian on Earth is named Mrs. Bookhart. I'm going to review too much, but in this series, you will get dumb aliens, dumber aliens, slightly dumb human who is the last librarian on Earth. Horses, watermelons, the Monopoly board used as a map of the Earth, the Kosciuszko Valley, which they filmed in, and lasers.
And decent production value.
And way more decent production, and also some of the best synth you will ever fucking hear.
Yeah, the music's pretty pimp.
Oh my God.
And the state of Mississippi produced this.
They produced a few other shows like Clyde Frog, but we're not going to get into that right now.
We're going down a rabbit. We're not going down a rabbit hole. We're going down a rabbit trench run.
Yeah.
Fucking Darth Vader's shooting
So we ended up watching a bunch of edutainment stuff from the 70s and the 80s.
Yeah.
But particularly from TV Ontario.
Mostly from TV Ontario. We watched Math Patrol.
Math Patrol. Here's Math Patrol for you. Math Patrol. Mr. Big entrusts Sydney, the Math Patrol agent, except that they didn't have any uniforms in his size except for a kangaroo outfit. So he just wears a kangaroo outfit.
Sure.
2 + 3 is 5. There you go. There's the whole show right there.
I've got the oranges, Rick.
He did this weird fucking Peter Lorre-ish imitation. The Mr. Big sounds a little bit like Humphrey Bogart. It's like there's lemons. There's a disembodied arm that helps us count to 12.
There's math monkeys.
They have to fight math monkeys.
Yeah.
Who are just an old woman.
Who is also a wizard.
Yeah, who's also a wizard and teleports away.
Good God.
Jell-O sponsored it. They were in a supermarket that had like shredded wheat and like battery acid and battery acid all in the same aisle. It doesn't make any sense.
After we watched some edutainment stuff, we decided, like, Jay's like, you know what? I haven't seen like the Helen Hunt PCP PSA in a while. So I just typed in PCP PSA. And for some reason, somewhere between like 8 to 10 years ago, and specifically Madison, Wisconsin, some high school teacher put her students on an assignment to make PSAs about angel dust because the epidemic had started crawling back for PCP.
It was either the film club or an actual film class.
Right.
I'm going to say this right now. these were all wonderful. Even the ones that sucked. These kids put more heart into this than I think they should have.
I want to say this.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
There were 10 of them. We watched all 10.
They were that. Well, first of all, they were also like a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Because yeah, they were like 2 minutes or less. Because the first one we clicked onto was the first one that popped up. The song kicks in. It's Inner Sandman.
No. That was like the fourth and fifth one. The first one was dubstep.
Oh,
and it's this girl walking with a paper bag, and on the bag is written PCP,
right?
Which is not conspicuous at all,
right?
And then it's dubstep, but it's building up to the dubstep part. And once they start doing the drugs,
the drop
hits.
The drop
the
happens.
bass drop.
Yeah, the drop happens.
It's fucking amazing.
And that's not how you want to portray PCP, because the
bullshit. That was the best fucking PCP.
The bass drop is the best part.
Well, soon after accidental suicide happened, but
we're watching this after the taping.
The other really good one. Like you see these two teenage girls like walking towards each other.
You don't even see them yet.
Yeah.
There's just a green field, and Enter Sandman
kicks in. And all I'm gonna say is one walks up to the other one, hands her what is clearly a clear bag of Skittles that says "not PCP" on the bag.
See, they knew how to do it.
Okay.
You don't put PCP on the bag.
Yeah, that's a dead giveaway.
There are so many copyrighted songs that are played during a couple of these.
Wow.
And then we followed up with one that started out with Hall & Oates. Ooh, where are you? Ooh, ooh. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah. There's at least 3 or 4 of them.
These kids are now grown adults, and I just want to meet them and just shake their hands and buy them like a burger or a beer.
God.
And I want to end this "What You Doing" with Jay on the PSA that Britain made about the safety of railways.
I don't want to spoil any of this, but there's
Right.
a moment in it that is the most British fucking moment in the history of empathy that I have ever seen in my fucking life.
Look, British PCA railroad safety. Look it up. It's 12 minutes. You don't have to watch the whole 12 minutes. You can skip like the first 4.
Go in 4 minutes in.
You have 4 minutes in where the kids are actually walking across the tracks.
Okay.
The child is a brat, and that's all you need to know about
he's
it.
a little asshole anyway. And boy, do they foreshadow Timmy really liked playing soccer.
God.
I'm gonna leave it there.
No more.
Gonna leave it there.
These are fantastic times.
Oh man,
Like legitimately,
we laughed for like 2 hours straight. We went back and watched some of the PSAs again
because they were just amazing.
They were so good.
These kids like literally put like
some of them worked really hard, and some of them didn't work really hard.
Yeah, I want some of them to have A triple plus.
Well, there's always the couple of kids in the class that just they're not going to give their all.
Yeah, they just want to be on the camera. That's what it is. But no, look up PCP PSA. Don't look up PCP alone.
No,
Yeah.
because you get on a list. But
Yeah.
PCP PSA.
Yeah, PCP space PSA on YouTube, and it'll come up.
It was so good.
They'll all have like under 1,000 views on them. They're fucking great.
Subscribe to their channels, join them, give them money. They deserve it.
Yeah. Speaking of supporting people, which one of y'all tells us who? I don't remember how to do this shit. Which one of y'all tells us who how to get a hold of us and everything like that?
Hey Jay, how do they
Yeah,
get in touch with us? Oh, hey man, thank you. So yes, we are on what we call Saga. We're on Spotify, Anchor. No, not Anchor anymore because it's now Spotify for podcasts. Apple, thank you. You give me one.
Google.
That's one. And then finally,
Amazon. There
we go. Yeah, the Saga. But no, thank you very much for listening, folks, and please spread the word to all your friends, to whatever ones that they listen.
You can also directly message us through our Gmail, travelers on the omnibus at gmail.
Travelers? There's no B, man.
Travelers on the omnibus at gmail.com.
We'll see about that.
You can also call us fascist on Spotify directly.
Yeah, comment under our Instagram page.
Yeah.
Batman Lover 1.
Yeah.
If we get legitimate email from him, my victory will go into the bonus. Like,
yeah,
it's just the way it is.
That is how that works.
Oh my god.
No
That is how
feedback,
that
right?
works. No feedback.
No feedback this week.
No feedback. I'm
No feedback
disappointed in
this week.
all
No,
of you.
It's okay.
So yeah,
We still love you though.
Yeah, jury's out.
Brady never loved you. Don't worry.
No, I have no love in my heart.
3 out of 4 of us love you.
Yeah. So,
I wanted to make a Math Patrol joke, but only you and I would
Yeah.
get that.
yeah,
thing right.
we go over our
Probably,
heads.
yeah.
so
I
that's
wouldn't want to
probably for
put
the best.
anybody else through that. That's a whole different.
Yeah, there's a whole other level with some of those.
Rick, help me, Rick. The gorillas have had bad bananas.
What?
Yeah.
That episode
That happened.
What was even worse about that episode? The audio kept desyncing worse, and it started out with no problem, and it ended up with like being 5 seconds off.
Oh,
So it'd be like the Jello pyramid. He knocks it over. And then 5 seconds later, you hear crash. I'm like, this is it. Honestly, it started becoming analog
And
horror.
then especially
man.
when the tape started getting real weird.
Oh, and the tape started losing tracking for some reason. And it's like it literally became analog horror after a
Yeah.
couple of minutes. It was
and
great.
then we watched something with a talking pineapple that scared us.
that only spoke in French.
Yeah.
okay.
And they
Yeah.
played what I can only describe as the most horror-inducing, like pre-Pac-Man video game I've ever seen.
Yep. It was
Yeah.
terrifying.
If you ask me what language does a pineapple speak, like French is like way down there.
No, it was all French.
It was TV Ontario, so
Yeah.
So there you go.
I don't think pineapples aren't native to Ontario.
That's why it talked like a demon, because they would probably think it's just like small, like armless, legless demons.
Well,
but
yeah.
they gave it arms and legs and a mouth.
Ooh,
yeah,
gross.
and eyes.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, no.
That sounds disgusting.
It literally looked like a proto Furby. Like
Yeah.
if instead of fur, they called them pineapple bees. That's what we would have been watching. French
Ew.
pineapple bees. Are you thinking about Applebee's, the restaurant?
Yeah, no,
now?
am.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that's the only
There you
thing
go.
that you can think
Yeah.
of after that.
We can get some Oreo shake and whipped cream.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
My victories continue.
I have no fucking clue what you're talking
I'm-
about.
Don't look it up.
Don't look it up.
It's
Don't
the
look it up.
worst song ever
look
made
it up.
humanly possible.
Don't look it up. But if you ever look up the
But if
word,
you ever look it up,
hold on, wait a minute. If you ever,
the song came before the commercial.
yeah, Applebee's loved it so much they used it in a commercial. Let me
This
just,
man did this. He did the song not wanting to be not caring if he was sponsored by Applebee's. It's
if
garbage.
you're ever looking up anything on YouTube, Google, whatever, and you use the word fancy, you may accidentally get this.
Yes.
Oh,
So be
okay.
very mindful. Be very mindful how you search. I'm talking both to the travelers and the passengers, both.
It
If
also
you're-
comes up on
yeah.
some commercials in the middle of videos. They will play pieces of it, and I try to click off of it as quick as possible because I don't want that stupid fucking song in my brain.
YouTube does that to push you to premium. That's what I think right there.
It's probably
Well,
See, now
also
I'm
depends on
nothing
the
but curious.
channel.
No, don't do it. Don't
do it and then regret it. Like we're telling you not to. So you know,
On the man who has love in his heart versus the man who has no love in his heart. Don't do it. Do it. Plan your life accordingly, and we will see what happens.
don't play it in front of me because I don't want to hear the stupid fucking song.
Oh, now I really want to do it.
You're just doing the. Now you're gonna have to listen to the song played to you by Ethan. This is your hell that you have dug for yourself.
Okay, like it's not like me versus Jody where he's not gonna out weird me. I can easily like annoy the
But
fuck out of Ethan.
Yes,
like
you might have with this topic, which is
so. Despite my best efforts, I ended up winning this whole trivia thing that we had last week. So I got to choose what we were going to do this week. So I decided we were going to get some foreign cinema up in this bitch and watch what is actually my favorite movie, Oldboy, the Korean 2003 version. There is no other version. I will not have it spoke of.
I thought you were talking about the 2013 Josh Brolin.
Fuck you. Fuck you, Ethan. Fuck you. Look at me. Look at me in my eyes.
Okay, yeah.
Fuck you.
Okay,
that doesn't exist.
Okay,
I don't know what you're talking
you're
about.
saying fuck you. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
good. I want to make sure you're saying that clearly.
that
okay?
doesn't that movie doesn't exist.
But
Spike Lee didn't direct it.
No, Spike Lee did not direct that.
I did not watch it.
No, I did. I definitely did not watch it.
I mean, I did watch
Elizabeth
it,
Olsen.
Elizabeth
wasn't
Olsen
in it.
and Josh Brolin were not in that movie.
but
nor,
it didn't
nor
exist.
Samuel L. Jackson.
but it exists.
I literally forgot that he was in that movie.
He's in it.
Yeah, don't watch that version. It's a garbage ass movie. But I made everybody watch the good one. Excuse me. This is the 2003 South Korean. They didn't do it. It wasn't in North Korea. Movie directed by Park Chan-wook and starring Choi Min-sik. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Ethan is the only one that hadn't watched this movie before. So, Ethan, had you ever heard of this movie before, or was this?
I know we have mentioned it, Oldboy.
Oh yeah,
In passing.
in passing.
But like, I've never heard of it before. Like talking to y'all about it.
You ever watch very many Korean movies, or is that not something on your?
Not Korean movies, but unless you count like foreign like martial arts movies, then
They don't make too many martial arts movies.
Yeah, martial arts movies are not something you see.
They do make
a lot
action
in.
movies.
Yeah.
Like I've seen like Attack on the Gas Station and Volcano High before it was butchered by MTV.
my dad really likes Jet Li, so he.
Okay.
I grew up watching a lot of his.
That's
movies.
that's Hong Kong cinema.
Yeah, he's Chinese. You don't want to get those mixed up because they will get mad at you.
I said foreign films.
But yeah, this is the second movie in what is called Park Chan-wook's Vengeance trilogy. They are not really related movies except for the idea of they are movies about vengeance. The first one being Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance. The third one being Lady Vengeance. They are all very good. Now, I do want to tell you, we're going to spoil the irrelevant shit out of this movie, and a lot of it holds like a lot of like the initial viewing is on going into knowing very little about this movie. There's a lot of big twists
Like me.
in this movie. Yes, that hit you like a ton of bricks. So if like South Korean revenge thriller with some like mystery in there, seems interesting to you. Unfortunately, there's no legal way to watch this. I am not telling you to watch this movie illegally, but there's a good possibility that you could find it out there. It's just you can't find it on anywhere legally.
Yeah,
that's
the
all that I will say.
Yeah, the DVDs are out of print for the America region for DVDs,
Yes.
and if you want to watch it, you can buy a DVD of it in another region, but you have to have a region-free DVD player.
Yeah.
and those are kind of hard to come
See,
by.
Yeah.
now.
what you have to do is you have to find the golden egg from Easter
Yes.
to redeem the golden ticket to find an American
Yes.
copy.
Yes. Or you have to be like me and have two versions of it already. I would have a third version, but I loaned that out, and it's probably the same copy, the same DVD that you have.
Yeah, Tartan Extreme.
Tartan Extreme. Yeah. So just talking about a little bit of this was my first kind of Korean cinema movie. Like this is what kind of ignited my love for Korean cinema. And there's a lot of and of course that's a broad term that I'm going to use, but like because there's tons and tons of different kinds of movies that fall into Korean cinema. There's some really good horror stuff. There's some really good sci-fi stuff. They do really good with these action thrillers. Revenge, I think South Koreans do revenge stories like the best.
There's also another really good one that got remade as well with Nick Cage called Bangkok Dangerous, and the original Korean version of that is phenomenal.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this I watched this around. It was around 2000. It was after 2005. I had graduated from high school by the time I watched this, but
Oldboy released in the States in 2005.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense now. I actually saw this recommended. I watched it was on Attack of the Show on G4. I watched it and one of the Greg something, I can't remember his name, but he was like the movie guy and he recommended this movie and I was like, well, let me see it. And then I was in an FYE and I saw it and I was like, he recommended it, let's watch this. And then blew my mind.
Yeah, I think I found out about it through trailers from other Korean movies that I saw.
This was like my beginning. So I started like literally just every time I would go somewhere and see like a Korean movie. If it had that Tartan Extreme on it, I was probably buying it.
Right.
And I wasn't really disappointed by the ones that I could find. I ended up, buying the other two movies in the trilogy. So I really, it made Park Chan-wook be he's one of my favorite directors. Especially when it comes to like foreign directors. So, Oldboy. Now we're gonna actually get into it. I started taking some notes on this movie, but then I kind of stopped part of the way through. Because I've watched the movie enough to where I just kind of know some things. I was just, some of these things are just reminders. But what I did watch afterwards, I tried to watch the whole thing, but I didn't have enough time because it was 3 hours. Is a special feature of the Blu-ray and this DVD version that I have is what's called the autobiography of Oldboy, where while they were filming the movie, they had another person kind of behind the scenes filming the movie and all the behind the scenes stuff. So you got to see a whole lot of like how they, some of them working through things and talking with each other and how they shot some of these scenes and stuff like that. And it was very, very interesting. And I like it. And I should have watched it earlier, but I just never got around to it because it's 3 hours worth of material. And that's on top of they're also, behind the scenes stuff. So I have some like behind the scenes stuff as we go through. So I guess we start at the beginning. So Oldboy is the story of Odaisu. At first we meet him. He's he's all in shadow. You can't really see his face, and he's holding the tie of this guy who's hanging over a building.
He's also holding a dog.
Yeah, who and the guy is holding a dog, and he keeps telling him like, please. So I will also say I also want to ask like what version did everybody watch? Because I the first time I ever watched it, I watched the dub, so that's kind of what I usually go back to. Although I have watched it back and forth with both versions, subbed and dubbed, and there's a few differences in the way they phrase some things.
I watched it subtitled.
Okay,
I watched the sub.
I watched it subtitled because it started automatically in English. Sometimes that happens, and I was like a couple of lines in, I'm like I can't because. The version, this is one of the first DVD versions of it, and sometimes the dubbing in the early 2000s to mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So I had to watch it, which was fine.
Yeah, and again, like I don't begrudge anybody either version. Right. But I just wanted to make that clear. Which version did you?
I initially saw it like in 2007, dubbed, and then for this one, it started out on subtitle, and honestly. So just real life story that the day before I'd had 2 hours of sleep. I had to go to work. So and when I got home, I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch Oldboy like this. And I'm going to give my take after like just being fatigued. And then it's like, I put the DVD in, I got in bed and I fell asleep. And so it's like, okay. And I woke up, was like, well, that failed. So I just play button. Oh, it's subtitle. You know what? I don't care. I'm just going to watch this movie again.
Yeah, I think the Ultimate Edition, the DVD version that I gave you had to like change it or something.
Do you prefer the sub or dub?
I usually prefer dubbing. I because there's so much of a performance that's based off of facial expressions, off of physical like movement, where if I am also trying to pick that up and I'm also having to do a book report, read a book report while it's flashing at my face, it takes it away from me from most movies. That being said, I can do it. And so I did it with that one because I was so tired. Like I woke up tired. That's how long I had not slept. So I was like,
this was the third time I'd seen this movie.
Okay. I'm not gonna like give like I know because I just don't watch movies like over and over and over again. So I'm just not gonna see it, but I've seen this like quite a few times. I usually when it comes to like live action movies, I tend towards I default to the original language that was spoken in. But this is a special case because when I first watched it, that wasn't my preference. Back in 2003. I was, I don't know, much less pretentious. I don't know, but you know, but this is like the nostalgic way that listening to these, hearing these voices and the way they phrase things,
right?
Because the subtitles can be a little bit different with the way they phrase things. Although the Blu-ray that I have is very annoying because they don't do the descriptive, they don't do the descriptive text on there, and there's a lot of things that happen in this movie that are in Korean on the screen,
right?
And if you don't understand those, it can be kind of confusing. I I know all the stuff that they're doing on there
Right.
because I've watched it enough with the descriptive text that I know what the hell they're talking about, but I can see how it can be very frustrating for other people. Tartan is not, I'm kind of glad that they don't have the rights to this anymore, because Tartan is actually a shit company when it comes to making these
They're
things.
pretty much like Lionsgate. Like they put at the time when they originally released this, they released like this, Tale of Two Sisters.
Yeah, I have that one.
Like the Whispering Corridors trilogy, which I only own Memento Mori, but I need the other two. But they have phone. They have like a shit ton of stuff that they just put out whatever that was like popular in Korea.
And they're very haphazard.
That's a good point to put it. But to me, like I think bringing Lionsgate, like mechanically, yes, like as far as that goes, but in reality, at least for me, when you look like for when I ran this DVD, the first thing that they did was the Tartan, like extreme Asian cinema.
Yeah, right.
And the first thing in my head I went back to was mid 90s fucking like. It's like these are the Japanese animations that's gonna blow you away.
Oh, yeah.
Akira, Wicked City,
Right.
Doom Megalopolis, and I hold Oldboy in a much higher esteem than I hold a lot of other Asian extreme films.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it is a quantifiable. It's not just a Japanese extreme, a Korean extreme, or a Chinese extreme. There is a vein running across all of those countries that about Asian extreme cinema, like just taking things to limits where you are not comfortable going.
Well, the reason,
Oldboy,
right? The reason,
Ichi the Killer,
right?
I forgot. There's this one Chinese movie that I cannot think of the name. Well, Hong Kong specifically.
Riku, not Riku.
And there's
Rikio.
also like when you talk about Rikio, the story of Ricky. That's Japanese.
Yeah.
And there's a distinction between Hong Kong cinema, least back then, of Hong Kong cinema and Chinese cinema.
Right.
There just is, and that goes back to the which you get a brief clip of on the TV that he's watching of the handover of Hong Kong.
The only reason why I made that comparison is that at one point Lionsgate put out whatever.
Yeah.
And so Tartan did the same thing.
Back in the day, before Lionsgate got kind of a little bit more prestigious,
they would put out
like
whatever.
if you saw Lionsgate at the beginning, I was like, oh, this is going to be a shitty movie.
Or it's a flip of the coin, because some of their movies like on asylum levels of
well, I say they're haphazard because an example is, it's just usability. Like to watch the autobiography of Oldboy, I had to watch a Tartan DVD extreme commercial that was like 2 minutes that I could not skip, that I could not fast forward through, that I could not hit menu. I had to watch it and then start on the thing that I actually wanted to watch. And it's like, I have most of these movies. You don't have to sell me on this.
I understand why they did it though during that time period. That was part of how they were able to market their stuff.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So it's 13 minutes and we're only like 10 seconds into the movies. This is going to be great.
I just want to say real quick, if you want to grab my attention, dangle a human being by his tie off the side of a building. Yeah. Okay. Good job, Park Chan-wook. Continue.
Yeah. And
I'll
you go,
say, let me tell you my story.
Yeah. Let me tell you my story. And then it cuts to earlier. We see, Odaisu when he was a piece of shit, and he's in a he's in a police station,
Drunk as fuck.
shit faced. This was one of the last things that they filmed because Choi Min-sik
cut his hair and everything.
He cut his hair and he gained weight for this part.
Gotcha.
And he got in like really good shape for the earlier parts. And he's just being a dick. He's hitting on somebody's girlfriend,
punching cops.
Like, he'll be calm, and then all of a sudden he'll get himself riled up, and like 5 cops have to come.
He goes shirtless and
he takes off his shirt, flopping on the floor, and making weird noises. And it's just like, you're like, oh, he's an asshole. Good Lord.
Yeah, cops are like, you know what? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. They finally get a hold of his friend, who you're going to meet an older version of him later. And for some reason, his name escapes me. But they go to a phone booth. And Odaisu is drunkenly calling his wife and is like, yeah, I got this stuff for her birthday. And this will become very important later. He shows in the police office, the police station, he shows these like angel wings that he got for his daughter for her birthday, because it's his daughter's birthday. So he gets on there talking to his wife and then talking to his daughter, and then his friend gets on there and he just kind of wanders out into the street because he's drunk as shit, and the friend starts talking to the wife and is like, yeah, no, he's drunk and this and that.
I'm bringing him home soon.
And then it cuts to this overhead shot where you see this purple umbrella walk towards him, and then it disappears. And the next shot is a very low shot of a door with a little like doggy window under it, and somebody comes and opens it up, and Odaisu's on the other side, and he's like reaching his head through in his arm, like it's just enough to get his head and his arm through. They're trying to give him like food, and he's just asking like, hey, what's up? Why am I here? Nobody's told. Like
I've already been here 3 months.
I've been here 3 months. How much longer do I have to be here? How like, just tell me what's going on. Like all I want to know is how long I need to be here. And like he's like threatening the guy, and then he backs off
and he starts pleading with
him. And and the guy just like kicks his head, into the little hole and slides the food through. And then it cuts into, the part that you're going to see quite a bit in this part of the movie of his little hotel room. And it's basically a hotel room. He has a bed, he has a TV,
a shower,
he has a shower and a sink area. And that's it. And then we get his narration where he says, if they would have told me I would have been here for 15 years, would it have made it any easier? So now we're seeing how Odaisu is dealing with being in this place, and it cuts to, if I'm not mistaken, it cuts to him a little bit later where his hair is like grown out and he's like very gaunt, and he has this disturbed smile on his face because there's a picture of this really disturbing painting of a man, and then in Korean on the bottom of it says, laugh and the whole world laughs with you, weep and you weep alone. And this becomes kind of a guiding philosophy for Odaisu. Then we have the first time that Odaisu decides that he's going to kill himself, and he breaks a mirror, I believe. And it's really good because it doesn't ever show him like actually cutting his wrist. It just, you hear the glass break, and then you see him lying on the floor with the pools of blood around his wrist.
And then some guys come in and
come in and drag him out. You also find out that there's this music that's plays, this almost like carousel type tune that gets brought up like a lot of times throughout the.
Yeah, it's a classical piece. I can't remember what it was though.
I wasn't able to find out anything. I didn't see anything about that, what it actually was, but it's a piece that gets used quite a bit. You hear it in this kind of like almost ringtone like way, and then later on it's actually part of the score.
Yeah,
where it's like an actual like orchestral.
It's not Swan Lake, but it's got that kind of like feel to it.
Like it just reminds me of like being on a carousel or something like this. And we find out when he hears this tune, they pump this gas in that knocks him out, and he wakes up and he'll have his haircut will be different. The first time that you see this, they actually take a glass that he had been drinking out of. You find out that Odaisu, his basically window to the world is the TV. He can watch the TV and he can learn things from there. And then he learns that his wife has been killed, and he is the prime suspect because they find all of his DNA all over the place.
It's the Four Seasons Bob Vivaldi.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know it was actually a classical piece. And then he starts, after he sees this on the TV, he starts hallucinating these ants coming out of his skin. And they go all over him, and he like starts freaking out. And this is the second time, I believe, that he commits suicide. That he tries to commit suicide.
Right.
Yeah. So part of the aesthetic of Odaisu is going to be these two scars across both of his wrists.
And the tattoo.
He starts. First before this, they give him journals and they give him a pen to write with.
Right.
So he says, I'm going to write down all of my sins, because I'm going to figure out.
I'm going to write down everyone I've wronged.
Everyone I've ever wronged, and to
figure out who in prison.
Yeah.
And one of the names I caught that he said out loud what he was writing down was like the director's name. I thought I caught that. I could
Okay.
be wrong, but I think that's an Easter egg.
So he's writing down all these things, and he's like, I thought I'd lived like a simple life, but I've sinned so much. And he starts also using the TV as to train himself. He draws a picture of like a human body, and he starts like boxing it. So he's like
Punching the wall.
and he's like, was it? I can't remember all the names because I apologize. We're not gonna be good with like Korean names and stuff like this. There's like, was it you or was it you or was it you? And he's like, when I get out of here, I'm gonna, nobody's ever even gonna find your body because I'm gonna swallow it all up.
Right.
He makes it his mission that the moment he gets out, he's going to find his captor.
Yeah. There's even like a deleted scene where he like actually pretends like there's an actual, they get a person to be a boxer and to like box with him because he talks about imaginary training a lot. And he, takes the spiral of one of the notebooks that they gave him and the ink, and he starts tattooing lines on his hand. One line for each year, so he can keep track of things. Because he can tell time because of the TV. And I think he said he had to sew 6 the first time or something like that. So, and then we cut to he keeps getting the only food they ever give him are these fried dumplings. And one day he gets 3 chopsticks. And the funny thing that he says is all I could think about is how the person next door to me has to eat with only 1 chopstick. So now he has an extra chopstick that he can keep because of course they're going to take back all the other chopsticks. So he starts using the chopstick to get a hole to dig a hole underneath his bed. And now we have like a montage of him, different things happening, news stories, Princess Diana dies, 9/11 happens.
It goes through a montage of everything that's happened in the 15 years that he's in prison.
Yeah, all the while also side by side with him digging, doing some Shawshank Redemption shit. He is, every year the chopstick gets smaller and the hole gets bigger, and then he finally breaks through, and this is a really good scene because he breaks through and he can reach through the other side, and it's raining. So he like catches the rain and then starts just licking his hand because it's like, I haven't tasted rain in so long. Like I haven't even seen rain. And then the music starts playing. So he's like, okay, I got a month. It's just a month. I'll be out in a month, And he's like, what do I have to do? Do I steal to get the money that I need to do everything that I need? What if I open up, I'm sorry.
One other thing before we continue up, about a year into his imprisonment, we find out that his wife was murdered. His wife was murdered, and he was framed for her murder.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah. There's a lot of world building that happens in this 20 minutes of the movie. Like a lot of world building.
And he lays down on the bed because he's smiling because he's just like, I don't care what they do to me right now. I'm gonna be out in a month. He even says like, I don't care if we're on the 32nd floor, and I will be free. I will, even if I have to jump, and die. I'll be free before I'm dead. So he passes out, and then we cut to this woman, who we find out later is a hypnotist, and she comes up to him and she goes to Odaisu as he's laying there, and tells him, at the sound of the bell, look to your left, and he looks to his left, and then we cut to grass that's on top of a building, and then we cut to panning over to this suitcase, and the suitcase starts moving, and it opens up, and there's Odaisu. With his haircut in a suit. You see his journals there, and they put him in a suitcase and they put him on top of
Of a random roof.
of a random roof that had grass on it. So he's really disoriented now because it's been 15 years without ever being in the sun. And he looks over and he sees this person, this guy, crying, holding a dog. And he goes, hey, don't come over here. Don't come over here. I'm going to jump. And Odaisu's like, oh, a person, a real life person. And goes over and like starts sniffing the dude. Like this is like he's been 15 years without any human contact whatsoever. And the guy falls backwards and he catches him by his tie. And now we're caught up to the beginning. And we cut to where he's told him his story. And the guy goes, oh man, that's fucked up. Yeah. And then immediately Odaisu just gets the fuck up, goes and gets his journals and walks away. And the guy's like, hey, don't you want to hear my story? What the hell, man? Cut to, so there are parts of this movie that are very 2003. Odaisu is in the elevator and there's a woman in the elevator with sunglasses on. And he is freaking out because this is a woman and he hasn't seen a woman in 15 years. And we cut to Odaisu is walking out, and now he has the sunglasses that are on that the woman had. So he has taken this woman's sunglasses. The woman is complaining to a security guard. The security guard goes up towards Odaisu, and then a body falls onto a car
with the dog,
and then the dog falls.
Yeah.
So this is the guy. So he's like he jumps, and then Odaisu stops and starts smiling and laughing. This is calling back to, laugh and the world laughs with you, weep and you weep alone. Mm-hmm. This happens to Odaisu a lot. Odaisu's walking around and he sees some young punks underneath like a bridge type area, and he walks down there and he one of them smoking it. He takes
a cigarette right out of his mouth.
Takes the cigarette out of their mouth, starts smoking it. And the guy calls him a dick shit. And then kicks him in the chest.
He's like, I've been out of touch so long that they've made up new slang words. That,
television doesn't teach you to curse.
Yeah. Television teaches you a lot of things, but it doesn't teach you to curse.
Mm-hmm. And proceeds to beat the shit out of.
Yeah, and then he walks back up to all the young hoodlums and says to himself, "Can 15 years of imaginary training actually pay off?" And then he, like Ethan says, beats the ever-loving shit out of these dudes. Like, he is brutally beating the hell out of them.
My favorite part is after the the last one falls to the ground, he's like, huh, I guess it did work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's an interesting with behind the scenes. I don't know why, but oftentimes when they would film things, there would be just like crowds of people around, like cheering. I don't know if they were there for Choi Min-sik. I don't know if they were there for Park Chan-wook. I don't know who the hell they were there for. Like in this scene, they had to tell people, "Hey, you're in the shot. You have to move. Like all of you have to move."
See, in my mind, they didn't know that they were filming a movie. They were just like, shit, the guy's kicking their ass.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Choi Min-sik does all of his stunts in this movie. There are no stunt doubles. That will be very important later to remember.
We then cut to Daisu looking at a tank of fish on the streets, and he's kind of like crouched on his knees a little bit watching, and then a man walks up to him, starts looking at the fish, and he says something. I don't remember what exactly.
It's a homeless man, first of all, and he goes, "What's that smell?" And he looks over at the guy, and the guy just hands him a billfold and a cell phone. And he was like,
and he goes, "Don't ask.
Don't ask. I don't know where this stuff comes from.
I don't know who gave it to me. Don't ask."
Yeah. So now, and Odaisu looks and he has like a shitload of money in this wallet. So,
I'm hungry.
Yeah. So now he's hungry. So he goes to this sushi restaurant, and we cut to Mido, who is the other main character, and she is a
chef
at this
sushi
restaurant, And she goes, "What did you say?" And he says, "I want to eat something that's alive."
That's still living. Yeah,
That's still living. I got some trivia about this as well.
this motherfucker takes a whole octopus.
Yeah. She will eventually give him an entire octopus, and he will shove it down his mouth while it is fighting him.
Yeah,
She's like, "This is what we have, but I can cut it up for you."
No.
He just grabs it like, oh.
He had to eat 4 of these.
4 of these
Oh,
octopus.
wow.
4 of these octopus. Choi Min-sik is Buddhist and is a vegetarian.
Oh,
So he said a prayer for the octopus every time that he ate one. It was the behind the scenes of this part was like very funny because he was just like, "Oh my god!" Like, but before he actually like eats the octopus, he gets a phone call,
oh yeah, right.
and
right.
this is and he tells him like, "Hey, who are you?" And the guy, keeps playing coy with him, and he's like, "Hey, do you like your new clothes?" And
Do your clothes fit?
do your clothes fit? That's what he said. Yeah. And he's like, "Are you this person? No. Are you this person? No. Are you this person? No." And he just like he's toying with him. And he tells him, just remember, be it a grain of sand or a rock in water, they both sink. And then she gives him. She also like Mito is asking him like, "Hey, you look familiar.
Have we met before?"
Have we met before?" And he says, "I saw you on this show about top young chefs or something like that." And he also mentions like it's weird to have a female sushi chef because women have warm hands and you can't have warm hands.
I thought that was a really odd thing to say, but
yeah. It probably wasn't his idea to say that.
Right, of course.
We'll get to that later. So after he eats the octopus, she puts her hand on his hand and says, "Oh, I have cold hands for a woman."
On the contrary.
Yeah. And as an answer to this, he passes out.
yeah. And I thought for a minute there, because it's been a long time since I've seen this movie, I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if that octopus wasn't choking him from the inside with the tentacles.
Yeah,
and all
he
that.
had to ask a couple of times. He was like, "Is this thing gonna like choke me as I'm eating it?"
It will. It
Yeah,
will.
there's
if you're not
there's a
careful.
chance. They kept telling him no, but I think that was just because they wanted him to do it. So he passes out. So Mito decides to take him home, and this is where we get some very 2003 scenes. We wake up and he wakes up. He's in the bed and she's over there reading his journals.
And he freaks out.
And he freaks out. Like she starts asking him questions like, "Oh, is all of this true?" And he's like, "Oh, fuck." And he like runs and he like jumps up and gets the journals and like grabs them and then like gets back in bed and like covers up. He hit his head in this scene and it was
I saw that.
That was not fake. He
Right.
accidentally did that,
That really
and it just
happened.
kept going.
Yeah.
I figured he actually.
Yeah.
he-
That's what it felt
accidentally
like.
did
That
it.
was like the first take of that shot.
Why would you let a stranger in your house?
Yeah. Why would you let a stranger into your house? This is again, we get some very 2003 scenes with this. She says, "Hey, I have to go to the bathroom.
The door is broken.
The door is broke." She takes a knife with her.
Yeah, she's like, "Don't come in there."
Don't come in there. She gets set down on the toilet and he immediately runs in
Like,
there.
he's in there for like 5 seconds.
Yeah,
and he
and
just runs in there.
Jumps in there and grabs her and tries to kiss her. All the while, the inner monologue says, "Can 15 years of imaginary training finally pay off?"
Right.
And she hits him with the handle
Yeah.
of the knife and knocks him back. And he runs back in there. He's like, "No, it can't." So she comes out and she's like, "I brought you home, so like I'm kind of interested in you, but like
Got to
not-
give me some
you
time.
got to give me some time here because I don't really know you."
I will sing a song and you will know that I'm ready.
Yeah, you just gotta, charge forward because I might be also hesitant this next time. Again, this is a very 2003 scene. I do not make excuses for it. But again, there are some. We'll get to some things where it might explain this. So he gets the idea. We find out that he got the exact same thing every single day for 15 years to
the
eat.
exact same dumplings.
These dumplings.
Well, before he starts doing that, he has Mito try and figure out where his daughter is.
Oh yeah, that's
I'm
very
sorry. I'm
important.
sorry. I
That's very
forgot about
important.
this. This
Yes.
is very important. The interesting thing about this is that this is a revenge film, but it's also a mystery.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like questions. So Mito, for some reason she puts on a wig. I don't know why she has to put on a wig to do this, because it's not like this person would have known. They go to this place and they find out the information. The lady tells them, she was adopted by this Swedish couple and she lives in Europe now.
Yeah, and she doesn't speak hardly any Korean or
Yeah.
whatnot.
Here's the number if you want to check it out. Here's also where she's staying. Hell.
Yes.
So a good what I like about this movie is they show you several times where Odaisu could have walked away. And this is another part. So he gets the number and he just starts walking off. And Mito's like, hey, don't you want to go see her? And he turns around and he's crying. And then he stops crying and starts this maniacal smile. He's forcing himself to laugh because otherwise he's going to weep alone. And then thank you, Ethan. I had forgotten about that. That's a very important part. So cut back to he's eating the same thing. And you see that there was one time where he ate and he saw this one little piece of like a menu or something, and it said Blue Dragon. So now what they're doing is they're looking through the phone book. Ethan, phone books were a thing where we used to have like the numbers of all the people. We couldn't just look them up.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. I'm following.
For old time's sake, why did you do that?
Yeah, because he's a young boy.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not the term.
Yeah, well, that's what we're using. So
If we're gonna have old boy, we have to talk about young boy.
they have to. So they go through and they circle all the blue dragons, and they go to each one of them.
So he can try and find the taste
Yeah.
of the dumpling that he had for 15 years.
Yeah, he's tasted this for 15 years, so he will know this dumpling when he tastes it.
Right, because even though they might have the same name, they might use a different oil for frying the dumpling and
Yeah.
different ingredients and things like that.
So every variation of blue dragons. So we have a montage of them. I'm sorry, Ethan, you were about to say something.
As he's looking through the phone book, Mito is on her computer, who's like online internet chatting with someone.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly what they're talking about.
They're asking about their favorite movies, and he says that, and the guy that she's talking to, whose name is Evergreen, says that his favorite is The Count of Monte Cristo, which is one of the classic revenge tales. And then Odaisu goes like, here's that, and then like goes to look, and you can see like a little like you can see they have like a webcam and all you can see is the person's eyes, and then he's like, hey, ask him who he is and everything like this. It cuts off. Or is this the part where
I think he turns it off, doesn't he?
He turns it off, yeah. He turns off his camera and disconnects.
I think it's very violent.
Yeah.
So I was asking Mito, why would you let a stranger into your home?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he becomes very suspicious of her.
Yeah.
Goes-
So Odaisu is now very suspicious.
Goes to the door and grabs a hammer.
Yeah, he's found one last blue dragon. This is like the last blue dragon place in the I think this is in Seoul. I could be wrong. This is the last blue dragon place.
Violet's blue dragon.
Yeah. So he rifles through some of Mito's cabinets and he finds a hammer. And he goes to the blue dragon place alone. He doesn't have Mito with him. And tastes it. This is the place, okay? And he sees the delivery boy. It just so happens that the delivery boy has a humongous delivery. So we cut to the delivery boy going up a hill on his little bike with this huge delivery, and Odaisu is just running after him because he can't lose him.
Right.
And Odaisu catches up with the guy and tells him like, hey, you need to tell the chef to put less scallions in the dumplings. And the guy goes, okay. They get in the elevator. The guy presses, I believe, 12 and 13.
It's two numbers together.
It's two numbers together.
Yeah.
It's whatever. And he goes to this place. There's a person facing away from the elevator down this long hallway, and he says, hey, leave it there. So the guy goes, yeah, okay. And then the guy looks up and sees Odaisu holding the hammer, and then we cut to this side shot of Odaisu and the guy, and then fucking broken line goes from the claw of the hammer into the guy's head, and then it freezes. And then the guy like starts freaking out, and he has a knife in his boot, so he slowly moves down, and he has one pinky on the knife, and he's trying to pull it out, and he starts shaking.
You could see his arm is like obviously trying to grab something there.
And then it just cuts to a close up of Odaisu's mouth, and he smiles.
Mm-hmm.
That's easily one of the best sequence of shots in
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Really, really good.
Like it just before the dotted line shows up. That's like to me one of the most iconic shots.
Oh
in the
yeah,
film.
definitely. So Odaisu goes in and he breaks into the main guy's room, his office area.
Mr. Park.
Mr. Park.
Got security cameras everywhere.
Security cameras everywhere.
Monitors.
He's got Mr. Park taped up in a chair
with his mouth taped open.
Yeah, with his mouth taped open. He calls him a dick shit because he's learning. Tell me what I want to know, dick shit. Who hired me? Who hired you to
detain me for
15 years?
Yeah. And the guy just because his mouth is taped wide open, and he goes, "Well, okay, we're gonna do some torture." So he rolls up his sleeves and he shows him his tattoos, and he tells him, "I'm gonna take a tooth for every mark on my hand, and every tooth that I take, you're going to age 1 year, and then you're going to tell me what I want to know." So, in an absolutely brutal scene.
Yeah, I did not enjoy this.
The rear part of the hammer.
So he takes the claw of the hammer and he puts it on the guy's teeth, and then there's a close up of the guy's teeth when he starts turning and the blood comes and the guy's tongue is like moving, and then it cuts to him and he twists.
I don't like any kind of body mutilation.
Yeah.
So I did not enjoy this.
Yeah,
scene.
this is a
Videodrome will be our next movie.
Good God, this is a rough scene.
Yep.
So we cut to he's taken quite a few teeth. He has a rag in his mouth that is dark red.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, "Hey, you're gonna tell me what I want to know?"
And he's like,
"Yeah." So he takes the rag out and cuts his thing, and he tells him like, I don't know who the hell hired me. I only ever talked with him. Like we all the money was transferred wirelessly. Like I never saw him.
Mm-hmm. I have a recording of our conversation.
Go get the recording. So he has to go get a tape. Tapes are what we had before CDs, which are what we had before
who would have thunk?
Files.
Who would have thunk?
Ethan, just want to keep you up to date.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of old shit in this movie.
I never would have thought that with the title Oldboy.
Yeah, he finds the tape and starts playing it. And the guy on the other end, he's talking to Mr. Park and he says like, "Hey, how long do you want us to keep him?" And the guy's, "Oh, 15 years." And the guy goes, "Oh shit, what did he do?"
We've never done this before.
Yeah, he's like, "That's going to cost a lot."
Yeah, that's going to cost a lot. What did this guy do? And he goes, "Oh, Odaisu, he talks too much."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. So cut to he's in the hallway and he has Mr. Park with another soaking red towel in his mouth. And the hallway is filled with people.
Like 30, 40 dudes.
And they all have like pipes and knives and shit.
2x4s.
Yeah, 2x4s, all kinds of shit. And he goes, "Hey, which one of you dick shits has AB blood?" And then some people raise their hand. Give him to a hospital before he dies. And the people who raise their hand, like they kind of part like the Red Sea. They even talk about this when they're talking about the scene. And get him out. And then we start what is one of the best
coolest
fight scenes ever in the entire world.
Yeah.
This is
Totally inspired the Daredevil fight scenes.
Yes.
I believe it. I believe it.
All the Devil. Yes,
So
it is
claustrophobic,
absolutely.
but also so
Claustrophobic.
It flows.
Great choreography.
Yes.
One camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like back in the day, I had read that this was not one take; it was digitally stitched together. Watching the background, this was literally one take.
Yeah,
it took 3 days to shoot this.
I believe it.
The entire scene is sideways through the hallway,
right,
of Odaisu fighting through like 30 guys. And this is a realistic fight scene because they don't just come at him one at a time.
Right.
They jump on him all at once. There are times where they will be beating him down and he has to take the hammer and start hitting people in the feet so he could get up. Mm-hmm. And he is just beating the ever-loving shit out of these guys, but he's also getting tired as he's doing this.
Right. And also, this hallway, we need to stress, this hallway is very narrow. It's like 3 feet.
It's the only thing that excuses this fight scene.
Right.
Because 30 on 1 should not even be a contest.
Right.
Yes.
Right. The hallway's very small.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But even then, like there are several times during this fight where he gets being down and he has to like fight his way out of
the
it.
guy gets stabbed in the back.
He gets stabbed in the back. This is the only thing that CGI is. The knife is CGI.
Right.
Once you see that, you kind of very notice the CGI. This is 2003. The CGI can be a little wonky. There's a giant ant in one scene where Mito is hallucinating, which was. They actually made a model of the ant.
Oh, okay.
It's just like the moving and everything was CG.
That was one scene where I was like, I don't remember this.
Yeah. Well, it's showing there's a parallel because Odaisu hallucinates ants. She is also hallucinating ants.
Sometimes when people are alone, they hallucinate ants.
And God bless this one fat guy with his shirt off. Like he keeps coming up like I'm gonna do something.
Right.
And every single time, just the most brutal
kick to the
hits.
Chest, punch to the face.
He's kicked to the chest. Like the sound design, the Foley artistry of this, like every hit is so brutal.
Right. Boards are breaking.
But yeah, like they're breaking boards over him and he's like blocking them and just laying into them. This was before. Now this movie came out before Logan. I heard like when I was reading about one of the things about somebody was just talking about this fight scene. They talked about this is the fight scene that Wolverine should have.
Right.
And this was around like the first 3 X-Men movies that came out, but we didn't get anything after that.
Right.
And I wholeheartedly believe this. Like this is a very like realistic fight scene where like he's getting tired as he goes. Like he has to literally like everybody stops. Like he will stop and like have to catch his breath and put his hands on his knees, and then people are like hesitant. Like it starts out where everybody's like jumping on him. Super aggressive. It slows down, but everybody also gets hesitant because they don't want to get their face punched.
They're already pretty beat up at this point.
Yeah,
you like see where he gets like his second wind, and he's like not stopping at all.
They kind of get a second wind at the same time almost.
Yeah, they all start getting their courage up, and they'll like literally like be pushing people forward into him where they would just get knocked the fuck out.
It gets to the point where like the last guy like gets knocked out, and he's like on the ground like crawling, picks up his hammer. Someone tries to like grab at him. He's like, yeah, and it smacks him with it.
Yeah. Like they're just like writhing on the ground, and they'll pick up a 2x4. Let me try and throw this at him.
Yeah.
To try and get it. So he makes it through this, and then we cut to
the elevator.
A forward face, like facing Odaisu, and in the background you see just littered with bodies.
And he like takes the knife out of his back.
Not yet.
That's not yet. That's not yet. Okay.
The elevator doors open and it is filled with people, and he smiles. And we cut to the elevator on the bottom floor opens up, and just all the bodies just fall out, and he just like walks
cascade.
over him.
Yep. Cascade bodies.
And he walks over them, and so Choi Min-sik was like he was like one of the the nicest dudes in here. Like he would, like he stepped over these people and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had to step over you. I can't look at you, so I apologize." Like he was like so nice to everybody. Like he was giving, the girl who played Mito, he was constantly giving her advice about how to do the scene and things like that. Like he was a really cool dude when it comes to this. Like he really like watched out for everybody. Like he was like, so like top notch guy.
This is when he takes the knife out of his
he drops the hammer and takes the knife out, And then now he's walking down the street and he's like, oh man, I'm not doing so well.
Yeah.
Well, with the stabbing and the several beatings.
And he is like exhausted and like in real, like, of course they didn't shoot this at the same time, but like in real life, like after this fight, Choi Min-sik was exhausted. Like he was like, all the sweat on him was real. Because
so he walks out in the street and he sees a little guy, right? Like
he collapses.
He collapses. He passes
and
out.
somebody runs up to him.
Right.
And it's like, oh man, I'm sorry. Oh God, look at all this blood. Oh man, so let me get you a taxi. So he throws the guy in the taxi, and then he goes, oh yeah, take him to this apartment.
Right.
And then Odaisu goes,
Specific.
Specific.
He didn't tell him where.
Right.
Just, oh wait, what the fuck?
Odaisu didn't say anything to this guy.
Apartment 8.
Yeah, apartment 8. Like he knows the exact place, and Odaisu goes, oh wait, shit.
And then, Odaisu like looks up through the window and kind of gets a glimpse of the guy too.
Yeah.
The guy says, "Have a good day, Odaisu."
Yeah.
Right.
He goes, oh shit. And then like, oh man, I missed him. So Odaisu makes it back to his Mito's apartment. And now he has Mito tied up because now he doesn't trust Mito.
Right.
Because he's like, oh, who the fuck is that guy? Like, what the fuck? And she's like, I don't know who he is. I just talk to him sometimes. And he's like, you're gonna tell me what I want to know. You know,
who is Evergreen?
Yeah, who is Evergreen? Who is this guy? And she goes, I don't fucking know. And like, then he gets a phone call, and it's Evergreen.
No. It's his buddy, because before he found the dragon, he reconnected with his old buddy.
Also, we cut to Evergreen, who we will find out is Wu Jin, he actually like said, okay, now he's gonna go find his friend who's in an internet who runs an Juhan. He runs an internet cafe. So his friend calls him back and is like, okay, I find out where the signal's coming from. It's coming from, it's literally the apartment
right
across the street.
Yes.
So we cut to Odaisu running down the stairs and running across to there
and running upstairs.
run to the apartment, and he busts in, and there's the guy who helped him into the taxi next to this short guy with blonde hair,
Mr. Han.
And he goes, hey. And he basically tells him like, "Hey, I'm the guy who kidnapped you and imprisoned you for 15 years." And he goes, "Okay, so now I'm going to kill you." He goes, "Well, wait,
don't you want to know why?
Don't you want to know why? So if you kill me, you'll never find out why."
Right.
And he's like, "Well, okay, sit down in that chair and I'm going to torture you." Okay. Well, here's the problem.
I have a pacemaker.
He shows him his chest. He has a scar. I have a pacemaker, and when they put it in, I said, "Hey, put a button on there where I can press this button and I can stop my pacemaker and I can kill myself." So if you start to torture me, I'm just going to kill myself, and then you will never know. He even he sits him down in the chair and he gets the hammer and he goes to and he puts it to his head, and then the guy he has the button is in this little it looks like a fucking little pin, and he lifts it up. Hey, if you do this, I'm gonna kill myself, and then you'll never know. And then he basically tells him like, hey, you have 5 days to find out why I imprisoned you, or else I'm gonna kill every person that you've ever loved. Including Mito, because I know you like Mito.
And by the way, Mito, she's been left unattended, right?
Yeah. You left her tied up, and you didn't close the door.
And then it's like, oh shit!
Yeah. So
we see him run back.
And he goes in there, and Mr. Park and all of his goons, most of whom are on like crutches and shit.
Neck braces.
Mr. Park's got a brand new grill.
Yeah, Mr. Park's got a new grill. They're there, and they have Mito tied up. Well, continue to be tied up. And he runs in there, and now they've got him. They force him down because they're gonna say, hey, we're gonna kill Mito. And Mr. Park says, okay, well now I'm gonna do what you did to me. So he gets the hammer, and he goes like he's going to take Odaisu's teeth, and he like fakes him out one time. And they both they cringe. And he goes, hey, see, the problem is, we make stuff up, but if you don't do that, you'll be brave as hell. He goes, this time I'm going to do it for real. And he goes to do it. And then then Mr. Park gets a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Han shows up with a suitcase full of money.
Yep.
And then they leave. But before this, Odaisu goes, hey. Mito's shirt is open at this point. He goes, hey, you touched Mito's breast. I'm going to cut your hand off. And he goes, well, what are you going to do about my tongue? And then they walk off. And she goes, well, now do you trust me, motherfucker?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you see what I've been dealing with?
Yeah. So then they leave Mito's apartment and
They start driving.
Mito like pretty much confesses her love. We cut to Wu Jin. Wu Jin is hearing everything that they're saying.
Right, because he's bugged. He doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, he doesn't know it yet, but he's bugged. And he's like, oh, Mito is falling in love with Odaisu. And then we cut to...
Well, before we cut to anything, there's like, it almost seems like it's almost implied in that scene where like, this is a point where he could just walk away.
Yeah,
He could just leave.
This is another part. Mito several times is like, hey, we could just walk away.
We could just leave right now.
And they go to a hotel and they have sex.
Yeah.
Fast forward. Was this before you knew the big twist,
so
Ethan? Was this an interesting scene to you? Were you like, oh, okay?
I'm like, okay, so
Just enjoying the ride.
Yeah.
okay, so it's a 2000s movie where the main character knows the side character for like a day or two, and then so they go to a sleazy motel and they have sex. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Well, he's also been in prison for 15 years, and it's a young woman
Yeah.
just turned 18.
Well, yeah,
She's a little bit more than 18, I think, in the.
I'm gonna go because I will go with this. The scene suggests that this is her first time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Yeah.
I honestly, at that point, we don't need to say anything more than that. Like, I think that part is important to the story, but it's still prurient, and it's gonna be. It's like,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Right.
I think this scene is here to make you go, oh, and then later you go, oh,
Yeah.
which is exactly what I did.
I was all with that scene the first time I saw
Yeah,
it
it was
okay.
pretty.
because of that
it
part.
was like
I watched this in 2005, so my mindset was a little bit. I was like, "Oh, cool, sex," and then I was like, "Oh, oh no!"
Yeah, I was uncomfortable and I didn't know why.
Yeah,
until much
well,
later.
you find it out.
Like, it's a movie with a sex scene. I mean,
Yeah,
that's true.
they wake. So then like
They're sleeping.
This gas gets sleeping and this gas gets pumped in, and then Woo Jin comes in, really creepy in a suit with a gas mask.
and starts laying down
And
with
lays
them.
down next to them. We know by now, like, Woo Jin has issues. That is an understatement, to be honest.
They wake up.
They wake up, and there is a box there. They open the box, and Mito passes out. We find out that it is Mr. Park's hand.
With a nice little ring on it.
With a nice little ring up. We've seen this. We know it's Mr. Park's hand because of the ring. We've seen it in the past. So Odaisu goes, oh shit, I've been bugged. So they go to somewhere in some Korean mall, and he holds up a paper. He's like, hey,
I've been bugged.
Find it.
Find it.
It's in his shoe.
It's in his shoe. So he breaks it. So now Woo Jin can't listen into him. There's also a deleted scene where they find one in the internet cafe, but they cut that out.
This is another point where they could just walk away.
Yeah, this is another point where they could just walk away.
And then they go to the internet.
They
cafe.
go to the internet cafe and they start researching because he's giving them hints.
They research everything.
Evergreen. So she's going through Evergreen this, Evergreen that, Evergreen Old Boys. This Catholic school.
Both
Yeah,
Catholic
Katsu
school.
and Juhan.
Yeah.
Both like
so,
stop.
Oh
and,
yeah, they stop and they look and like, oh shit, I know what this is.
This is our high school.
This is our high school. We both went here. Oh shit. So now Odaisu and Mito go to the high school, and Mito talks the janitor into letting them be in the library to look through the yearbooks, and they find they find Woo Jin, and they find out that he had a sister. And he calls up his friend and is like, "Hey, do you remember this girl?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, she died. They say that she killed herself. You know." We cut to the friend who's in the internet cafe, and in the computers right across from him is Woo Jin. And Woo Jin's listening to the conversation because
he's no longer bugged. So
yeah, he's no longer bugged, so he has to eavesdrop. So the Odaisu is like, "Hey, what do you remember about this girl?" And the guy goes, "Oh yeah, she was a humongous slut. She fucked everybody but me, pretty much. Man, she just got rammed all the time.
I wish I could have been there.
I wish I could have been there. Man, why didn't she fuck me?"
Ju Win gets pissed.
Yes. He's looking and then his face drops, and then he
hits the eject
he
button.
hits the eject button. There's a CD in there. He breaks.
I'm assuming the CD was a StarCraft disc. I'm just saying that right now.
Statistically, it was.
Yes.
He breaks the CD and walks over and just stabs the ever-loving shit out of Odaisu's friend while he's on the phone with Odaisu. So Odaisu's hearing all of this shit. Just stabs the shit out of him. The guy, like, after the scene, because he's wearing like the in real life the guy isn't fat, so he's wearing like a kind of fat suit thing because he looks like a tubby piece of shit. His entire top of his chest was red because the guy was just like
going for it.
He then says, "My sister was not a slut."
My sister wasn't a slut. You have to know this.
Yeah, he grabs the phone and starts talking.
And he tells him like, "This is your fault because you weren't bugged anymore, so I had to go eavesdrop. That's why your friend died." And then Odaisu's freaking the fuck out. Mad as all hell.
I'm pretty sure if he was still bugged and they heard that part of the conversation, that motherfucker would have died.
Yes.
And then
yes.
soon we have the flashback, right?
Yeah, he goes. He ends up going. No, he found this flyer in one of the annuals.
Yeah,
and he goes to the this salon, and it's a girl who went to the same school and he knew her. So he starts asking her about it, and she starts telling him like, "Oh yeah, I knew we knew the girl, and it was so sad that she died. And hey, do you know anything about her? Do you know who she was? She was dating somebody, and do you know who?" He's like, "I don't know who." So she calls up one of her friends who was also there, and they find out, she found out from Odaisu's friend about who she was dating, and also that hey, you should ask Odaisu. She goes, "Hey, you should know about this." So now we have the flashback. Odaisu goes back to
Which, real quick, and I apologize for interrupting. That is another shot from that film because it's cut between the present day and present day Odaisu and young Odaisu running these exact same things. So he's literally catching up with himself to find out what.
And all of this, none of this was like CGI or anything. Like they were literally like Odaisu, like the young guy would run in, and then Odaisu would run, and then he would back off, and they would run in. It was really cool.
This was
also, they found out. They got back with they found Mr. Park where they had to move, and Odaisu gets Mr. Park to hold Mito in one of the new rooms that they have. Mr. Park now has a fake hand, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to get that bastard."
Right, because the enemy of my enemy is a friend.
Yeah,
is what he says.
So Mito is locked in this room because he's like, "Hey, after the 5th, after these 5 days are up, you can let her go.
Right.
But right now, keep her safe."
Right.
like the high school scene is like Odaisu and young Odaisu and the young guy like running like up the staircases around the school. That's probably like one of my favorite scenes.
That was really cool. I think one of my favorite scenes in that section is when he sits down on the bench next to the girl.
Yeah,
and he's acting like he's a punk. He's smoking a cigarette upside down in a tree or monkey bars, and one of the nuns comes up to him. Is like, "You can't be doing that." He's like, "I'm leaving tomorrow."
Yeah.
She's like, "You're a piece of shit," in so many words.
Yeah. So he sits down and like starts kind of flirting with Woo Jin's sister, and she like runs off, and he's like, "Oh, okay." And then we cut to Odaisu's still walking through the thing, and he stops in this classroom. And then we pan over, and young Odaisu is like writing dirty words and stuff on the chalkboard. and he hears a noise. Youngo Daisu does, so he goes to investigate, and he comes to this. He looks through this hole in the window of this
it's a broken
one
pane
classroom.
of glass.
Yeah, and we see Woo Jin, who has like a camera, chasing around and with his sister, and is kind of being a little flirty and weird with her.
Lee Sua.
Lee Sua. Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't. For some reason, her name just escaped me. So he sees them, and man, Woo Jin.
Yeah. He's like, hike your skirt up.
Yeah, hike
while
your skirt
I take
up.
pictures of you.
Let me take your panties off.
Yeah.
Take your bra off.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, don't do that. And then she finally gives
It's a
in.
real Lannister situation.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So this is something that I was interested in because this movie came out before most people even knew anything about Game of Thrones.
Right.
And before Game of Thrones was a cultural touchstone. One of the things Game of Thrones did was it made incest like way more like in the public consciousness,
Right.
and way more accepted than it used to be.
No.
Did this? Okay, so this still like grossed you out, right?
It creeped me out, and I'd seen this
Okay.
before.
I would like to read an excerpt from our Travelers on the Omnibus group chat, okay? So,
Oh yeah, I remember.
Alright,
I remember
so-
now.
hang on, let me find it.
Me and Brady were discussing this later yesterday.
Right.
And 1 second, Ethan, we were discussing this, and we're like, I bet that's the scene that he's talking about.
It was this
Yeah.
scene where
This
you,
scene
where you
right
said
here.
that, right?
At 9:30, I said, watching Oldboy now. Brady gives a thumbs up. Jody gives a big thumbs up. 11:10, what kind of Alabama bullshit am I watching?
It was during this part, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
kind of figured that.
So Youngo Daisu makes a noise like the girl is like Woo Jin is sucking on his sister's titties. She pulls out a mirror for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
She wants to look at him like doing stuff to her.
Yeah. Sure.
I didn't want to get detailed.
She hears the noise and looks. No, there's Youngo Daisu.
He looks-
Looks
oh,
through
shit.
the
And he
mirrors
run-
at the window.
Yeah, and he runs it, and he runs. That's a good shot too.
Right.
So he runs away. Then we cut to Youngo Daisu and his friend Juhan.
Oh, Daisu's moving.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Daisu's moving, and it cuts to he just told him like what he saw.
Yeah, he's like, oh, by the way, brother and sister. Wow.
Yeah, and he's like, hey,
Don't tell anybody.
And the guy's like,
Well,
yeah,
no,
sure.
I don't think he knew that it was brother or sister. I think he just thought it was some girl.
Now that I watched this last time, I thought he may not have even known that.
He might not have.
It's just like,
he
hey,
just knew
He
that
I saw
named names though.
And honestly,
Okay.
also,
if he did, I forgot about
but
that.
maybe if he didn't appreciate that fact, if he
Right.
didn't appreciate that, nor like accept or understand that,
Right.
it makes it easier for like this is going to be a weird one. If someone I knew was committing incest and I found out about it, not firsthand but secondhand, I would hope it would stop with me.
Right.
But if I found out someone's doing something they're not supposed to, maybe my lips are a little looser on that one. So there's something to be said there, I think.
Right.
because
I think he knew. I think he.
He probably that's what I got most of the time, but this time I might not have just been paying attention to the part where he said her name. Regardless of like either the rumor gets started that they're doing incest stuff, or the rumor gets started that she's a slut. Either or has the same outcome with this.
And it could have started out at incest and just the game of telephone.
Yeah, just by the
becomes-
game of telephone,
Well,
it's,
it's also-
she's a big slut.
And it's also heavily implied that that's not the first instance that happened.
Oh yeah. This is I never got the feeling that this was the first time that this has happened.
and it's found out through the salon lady that she Lee Suha jumped off the bridge.
Yeah, there was she was found days later because she had jumped off this like bridge or dam or
and
something
to
like
fucking
that.
twist the knife further, they found her bloated corpse.
Yeah,
Like that part didn't need to be in there for.
Right.
That part doesn't need to be in there for the characters, but that part needs to be in there for the story,
The audience.
to make you understand that this turned dark,
Yeah.
and very very vivid.
yeah. So we cut to Odaisu's telling Mito all this, and she's like, "Oh shit, that's the reason that he did this." And he's like, "Hey, be it a grain of sand or a rock in water, they both sink." So that's why he did. So now he's preparing, like, okay, I'm gonna go to the guy's penthouse. I figured out where his penthouse is.
He gets different clothes.
Yeah. He changes into mostly he's been wearing like a
black and white
suit.
suit.
It's either white or sometimes he wears like a black shirt. Looks really fucking cool. So now he gets a red shirt and he like combs his hair back. And then before he leaves, he hugs Mito and
Grabs a toothbrush.
He grabs a toothbrush. He's very good at improvised weapons. He grabs a toothbrush and then hugs Mito and then says like, "Hey, pray next time that you meet a younger man." There's another hint. And she tells him, "Hey, make Wu Jin bow down to Odaisu and beg for forgiveness." So we're all primed. We're all like, "Oh yeah, this is it. This is the finale. He's gonna get what Wu Jin's gonna get what's coming to him because this is bullshit. Nobody deserves that." And Odaisu is walking into the spider's web. He just doesn't know it. So he gets to the tower. He gets in. He's like, "Okay, penthouse. Let me press that."
We have like pretty much the last humorous thing that happens in this movie where he's trying to figure out how to
knows
get
into the combination.
He knows like the numbers. He just doesn't know the sequence of the numbers.
Right.
So he keeps putting in different combinations, and then he puts in too many wrong combinations, and an alarm starts going off.
Right.
Ju Win walks up.
Yeah.
With Mr. Han.
Yeah,
Mr. Han walks up.
Mr. Han and Wu Jin walk up and just put in the number and then walk and then go up. And then he goes, "Hey, you had sex with your sister." And then Wu Jin's like, "Hey, calm down. Let's just talk about this upstairs." They get upstairs, and as Wu Jin's and Mr. Han's walking out, there's two bodyguards, and he goes, "Hey, kill him." So Odaisu breaks the toothbrush and just murders these two guys.
Two shivs out.
Yeah, he makes two shivs and then uses both of them.
Yep.
And he goes up to attack Mr. Han, and Mr. Han's like, "Hey, hold on.
Just talk.
Let's just calm down." So while Wu Jin over here is taking a shower, and he's got this cool shower that's like in the middle of the room, and he's got this cool
wardrobe,
this is a really fucking cool apartment.
The wardrobe.
He's got like this big square block of wardrobe that opens up into four sections.
Right.
And again, it's to show he has wealth beyond avarice.
Yes.
Right.
He literally did not have to do any of this. But first of all, this is where he has the funds to do it.
Yeah.
But also that his life, like literally, like fascia wise, should be perfect.
Right.
But it's not.
It's
like
obsession.
in a scene just before, I won't say just before this, but earlier in the film, you've got him looking back at Odaisu's fucking imprisonment. Like he loves watching the videos of this man suffer.
Yeah, he tells him earlier like he is a student of Odaisu.
I'm an expert.
I'm an expert. Yeah, I'm an expert in Odaisu. So Mr. Han goes and cleans up these bodies because there's blood all over the place.
He has like a moat in his apartment. That
he has just like water going through with like walkways. Like this is a ridiculous ass penthouse apartment. Like this is like absolutely ridiculous. So then does he fight? He doesn't.
Not yet.
He doesn't fight Han yet.
They talk about
He
his
gets
relationship with his sister.
So yeah, he's like, hey, you fucked your sister. I found out. Now you got to kill yourself.
Well, also,
and he goes to
also, he asks him. He's like, "Let me ask you a question. If she died alone, why did you take a picture on the date that she died? Because there's a picture of her on the wall
at the bridge
on the same day that it happened.
So why did you kill your sister?
Yeah, well, you killed your sister
right
after you slept with your sister.
Right.
And it's like blaming, like, were you not ready to be a father for your child or whatnot?
Yeah. So he goes, hey, let me tell you what happened. This rumor started growing. Your tongue did all this. And then, it got around, oh, she's pregnant. And then he's like, then she starts believing it. Oh, then her belly got big because she kept feeding into the lie. And he's like, hey, my dick didn't get her pregnant. Your tongue did. So
That was a really good line.
He has even convinced himself that like, oh, she wasn't, and she wasn't even really pregnant. Like she just fell into the lie.
Like one of those phantom pregnancies.
Yeah, like you know what? How could she live with herself? You know, knowing that she was about to have a son who was also her nephew. And he goes like, hey, yeah. But still, you fucked her and you killed her. Now you got to kill yourself. Like, and then we get the revelation.
We get a laser show.
Yeah.
He's like pointing to all.
He
all
takes
other
he takes this
things.
little laser and he's like pointing it through, and you see like there's these cameras all over the place, and then it ends on this big gigantic another purple box. Purple is kind of a bad color in this in Oldboy.
Is that before or after he has the fight with Mr.
That's
Hun?
this is literally
Yeah,
before.
it's
Right before.
Yeah, finding out the revelation is what
Okay.
makes him attack him.
Okay.
So he
There's a nice purple
Yeah.
box.
yeah, Woojin is just like he's eating this up. Like he has Odaisu in the palm of his hand. So Odaisu goes to the box and he opens it up and it's a photo album. Okay, and he looks through.
As he's like opening it and looking through all the pictures, we cut to Mido in the hotel room.
Yeah.
Who is like going through a suitcase.
Yeah.
And she starts like moving things around. She gets to the bottom, and then we cut back to Daisu going through the
The first
photo
picture
album.
we see is a picture of not quite middle-aged Daisu, but we get like 30-year-old Daisu.
Yeah, the Odaisu that we had seen in the beginning.
With a little baby girl
And his
and his wife. That's the first picture we see. And then we
cut
see
to, the baby's a little bit older.
a little
but the
bit
baby's
older,
along.
little progression.
And then they're a little bit older and a little bit older, and she's in school and she's with taking pictures with
And
friends.
she starts becoming a little bit more familiar facially.
Yeah. And then we eventually get to
You fucked your daughter.
that's Mido.
Yeah, and then
That's Mido. And then they just start showing pictures of Mido and him.
and then it cuts to Mido with the paper angel wings
Yeah.
in the hotel room.
Yeah. Like weirdly flapping them. And then we're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
We thought this was Odaisu's revenge movie. This is Woojin's revenge movie. And he got all of us.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Odaisu explodes in anger.
Then has the fight with
Now
Mr.
he
Han.
has the fight with Mr. Han.
Han's just like throwing.
That's not a fight. It's
Yeah.
not a fight. It's
It's very-
Han
So
throws
up
him
until
around.
this point, nobody has really been a challenge for Odaisu.
Right.
And he meets his match.
Right.
He
Mr. Han,
abso-
he's just judo throwing him into all the
throwing him
furniture.
everywhere. He throws him into the window, and the window cracks and breaks.
to the point that it now approaches Hong Kong wire because
Yeah.
some of these throws are not possible
Yeah.
by a human being.
Right.
He is literally overhead, ass over tea kettle, flipping through
Yeah.
the air, hitting these fucking windows.
Yeah. But before this, as he started the fight, Odaisu grabbed a pair of scissors.
Right.
And as Mr. Han is picking him up, he stabs Mr. Han in
Right
the
in the
ear. So now he can't hear.
Right.
And Woojin goes, Mr. Han, stop. And Mr. Han can't hear him. So he's trying to kill Odaisu.
Right.
That's
There's
all he knows.
blood coming out of his ear.
Yeah.
I thought he was dying at that point.
Yeah, I thought he was too at first.
I think you can have both of those thoughts
At the
inhabit
same
that
time.
scene, that
Yeah.
he is dying, or that he feels he's going to die.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I'm going to kill
Well,
this
it's
man.
possible that now he has brain damage, because that
Definitely.
God, those scissors went very far.
Right,
yeah.
Like
right.
the blood that comes out of as far up as you see the blood,
Viscous, yeah.
they're like halfway up the scissors.
Yeah.
And the scissors are very long.
Right.
And Woojin's like, "Hey, Mr. Han, stop! I said stop." Something we forgot to mention as they were getting on the elevator, Mr. Han hands Woojin a package that's wrapped up in newspaper, and it's this little like
pistol.
It's like a Derringer, but it's not. But it's a large caliber.
Right. Now, the reason why that's relevant, real quick for the audience, guns are illegal in South Korea.
Okay.
It's really hard to acquire firearms, even if you're in like the high organized crime.
But then again,
Right. He's got the money.
He has the money.
But that's
he
why
has a gun.
But that, he
Okay.
has a Derringer because that was probably the only gun they could get at the time.
I didn't know that. I didn't even think of
There's
that.
a real quick.
why didn't you think anyone had a gun in that hallway scene?
Yeah. Well, I'm just used to like in Asian countries like guns just aren't prevalent. But I didn't know that they were that hard to get.
Real quick, there's a movie that came out about the same time called Friend.
Okay.
It's really fucking good. It's about like friends and like, you know, some people like get one side goes to one gang, one side goes to another, and another guy in the middle that doesn't go either way.
Okay.
They have gang wars with fucking scissors and swords and knives, and it's fucking spectacular. But that's because guns are illegal in South Korea.
I didn't know that it was that that strict.
At that point,
I
it
knew
was.
like with like most Asian countries, like
Right.
it is very strict, but I didn't think about that.
While we're here, so you said not. I will bring this up because I believe it is necessary to make this because we've gone through most of this film just now. It is the reason why you cannot. One of the major reasons why you cannot do an Oldboy movie in the United States,
Right.
because that hallway scene. Somebody is going to go, well, why doesn't somebody take out a gun and shoot him?
Yeah.
Why didn't he find a gun? And do, like, there's a cultural difference here,
Right.
that you don't respect until you can like get the whole panoply. Jody, thank you for bringing that
Yeah.
up.
You're
because
welcome.
It's one of the most integral parts of
It
this
never,
film.
it never like as much as I've watched this movie, like that never crossed my mind.
There's so much going on. Your senses are being overloaded with so much happening, and you would think like, okay, well, I mean, you could also like logically think, all right, all these dudes that work at this hotel are probably getting paid no money, and you know why would you give your thugs guns?
Yeah.
Because they might just like rob you.
Yeah.
Also, so that would make sense, but also knowing the fact that like guns are like almost impossible to get. Also,
But like the boss guy doesn't have a gun. Like,
boss guy
this
doesn't
dude
even-
that
Yeah.
he knows.
right?
Yeah, that makes it
Yeah.
that makes it much more interesting. Like that's another facet that I didn't even think
so
about.
again, if you transplant that over into American sensibilities, you almost have to have guns. Like you'd have to, because that's something that I want to say the word ubiquitous, but it is more ubiquitous certainly than in South Korea.
it doesn't make sense why nobody would have a gun.
The gun in Bangkok Dangerous is the guffin, the
Wow.
MacGuffin, because guns are so hard to get.
Oh wow, that's cool. So back to the movie. Woo Jin is like telling Mr. Han to stop, and Mr. Han is still continuing to try to kill Odaisu. This is not what Woo Jin wants. Woo Jin has a very specific vision of what he wants. So he goes up and he uses the Derringer and shoots Mr. Han in the head.
Right in the head.
Because he does not give a shit about Mr. Han. Mr. Han has probably been his bodyguard
Forever.
for 20 fucking years. Probably even before that. He just shoots him dead. And then Woo Jin has his revenge moment. So he tells him, hey, I practically raised Mito from a baby. I have been doing nothing but this. Everything that I have done has brought us to this moment.
Yeah, I hypnotized her. I
Yeah.
hypnotized you.
Yeah, I put all these little suggestions in your head. In both of your head, and you're both very susceptible to hypnosis.
I told her to be interested in the man with the tattoo marks on his hand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I told her to react. I hypnotized her into reacting to what you specifically said, and you were specifically going to say what you said because of what I said when I called.
And when she touched you in the restaurant, you were going to pass out. He went through all the different like things that would happen.
So he worked to make them fall in love with each other.
Right.
And he's just like going off, and he is like telling him like, okay, and he basically says like, hey, now she's gonna find out, and now everything's going to be
Mr.
complete.
Park has the exact same box
Yeah.
at the prison hotel, and he's going to show Mito the same thing,
Yeah.
and then he fucking starts flipping out.
And Odaisu gets a call, and it's Mito. And she goes, "Oh, I'm scared. He's here, and there's a box in front of me." And
He's
he's
wanting
like,
me to open it.
He's
"Oh
like,
my
"Don't
god!"
open the box.
So, Odaisu has been the toughest motherfucker up until now, and he falls into a puddle. He begging her, pleading her,
Don't
do not
open the box.
Do not open the box. Please, God, do not open the box.
Starts pleading with Ju Win.
He pleads with Woo Jin. He says, I'll do whatever you want. I'll be your puppy.
I'll be your bodyguard.
I'll be your bodyguard. I'll be your puppy. He crawls around on all fours. He starts licking the man's shoes. Like, I will do whatever you want. And all this time, like, Woo Jin is laughing.
He's covering his face
Covering his face.
with a handkerchief because he's laughing so hard.
Yeah. This, like, so finally, Woojin's like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. So he crawls over and he grabs the scissors.
Yeah, Odaisu.
Odaisu, yeah.
Yeah.
And he takes his tongue and he cuts his tongue out.
I didn't like this either.
No, this was not a fun scene.
You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So congratulations, you're a human being.
Yeah, you're human. You passed the test. So
You're not a replicant.
Yeah.
So now, the tongue was what has offended Woojin, so now I'm going to cut this off.
Right.
So he crawls back, he crawls back over to Woojin and is like, and he picks up the phone and is like, hey, he points like, hey,
Right.
tell them. So Woojin takes the phone and he says, okay, don't show her.
Right.
And closes it.
And then he goes, now what do I have to live for?
Yeah, now what I had to live for. So he puts his head on the other side of Odaisu's head, and then puts the derringer to Woojin puts the derringer to his head, or he puts it to Odaisu's head.
Right.
Yeah.
And Odaisu's just like, oh, thank God. So Odaisu just closes his eyes, and then Woojin walks away, and he drops the button, the pacemaker button to kill himself, and he walks towards the elevator, and Woojin sees that and he immediately jumps on it. And then
Odaisu.
damn. Fuck.
And he starts pushing the button,
he starts pushing the
really
button.
hard. Yeah.
And
nothing happens.
Nothing happens except
No, something happened.
Well, pushing the button, nothing happens.
Woojin does not die, but sound starts playing, and that sound just happens to be the recording of him and Odaisu and Mido having sex. And Woojin turns around and says, my sister and I really loved each other. Can you and Mido learn to do the same?
And then gets in the elevator. And so Woojin's in the elevator and he starts remembering.
He has his own flashback.
His own flashback, and he remembers himself holding his sister's hand while she is hanging over the bridge or the dam or whatever it is.
He's trying to stop her from killing herself.
It's obvious that like she was sitting on here and she fell back and he went to catch her and she is holding and he's trying to hold on
and
to
she's
catch
like,
her.
let me go.
Yeah.
And she's like, let me go. I don't have any regrets. Just let me go. And she takes he's got a camera around his neck and she takes the camera and takes a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cutting back to Woojin in the thing and he's holding her as well. And he's like in agony and young Woojin is in agony. And he finally he lets her go.
And there's like a tear.
Yeah, and there's a tear. And then cuts to, you hear a bang, and Woojin's blowing his brains out.
As the door, you don't see the shot. You hear the shot. As the door is opening, you see him falling over.
Yeah,
right.
And you see the blood spurt, and he falls over.
Right.
So now we cut to snow. This was shot in New Zealand in the summer. This was hell because they lost a lot of their equipment on the way up. In baggage.
I forgot about this scene too.
Yeah. So we're in this snowy area in the mountains, and Odaisu is sitting there with the woman who was the hypnotist, and she has been reading this entire thing. So all of this, I guess, has technically even been a flashback.
She's like, why should I even help you here?
Yeah, she's like, why should I even help you? So she finishes up the story and he's like, hey, I obviously couldn't like tell you this. I had to write this down because I don't have a tongue anymore. And Odaisu's like, his hair is like grayer. Obviously some time has passed. And he's basically asking her, hey, hypnotize me to where I do not remember what I did. Mido doesn't know. I don't want to know, so now we can live in ignorance.
Well, yeah, make us both like forget that, make me forget that I'm related to the person that I had sex with. Basically.
Make me forget I am the father.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like relation bad.
Right.
Yeah.
This
extremely bad.
It's very, very bad. So she goes, I have no reason to help you, but something that you wrote in here, and this is something that I didn't mention earlier. This is something that the man who killed himself in the beginning told him. But this thing this touched me, and it's the phrase, even though I'm worse than a beast, don't I have the right to live?
Oh yeah, I remember that now. Yeah.
Which is the same thing that the suicide guy told him.
Right.
So she hypnotizes him. She has him. They cut to the hypnotism is pretty cool because Odaisu's in Woojin's apartment, and and he walks up to the window, and she rings the bell, and it cuts, and one of him is Odaisu, and one of him is the monster.
Right, which looks very close to the painting from inside the apartment from earlier.
Yeah, because Woo Jin referred to him several times as, "You're the monster that I created."
Right.
And she says, "Okay, when I ring the bell, the monster's going to turn around and start walking, and every step that he takes, he's going to age, so much. And when he gets to be 70, he's going to die. And don't worry, he dies, very peacefully." So she hypnotizes them, and then we cut to Odaisu laying in the snow, and you hear Mito yelling like, "Hey, Odaisu, time has passed." And she comes up and is like, "Hey, was somebody else out here?" Because now we see the two chairs that they were sitting on are covered in snow. There's steps away.
Right.
And then they hug, and she says, I love you, Odaisu. And he kind of looks, he has a very distant look in his head and then on his face, and then he gets the
forced smile.
The forced smile that we've seen, and then that's the credits as they look over this mountainous area. It's very, very pretty, and that is
pretty,
Oldboy.
and it's also very desolate.
Yeah, very, very desolate. And that's Odaisu, and that's Oldboy. I like that there, you could argue that there's not really ambiguity, but I like that there is ambiguity because you don't know for sure,
right,
if Odaisu, if the hypnotism worked or not,
right,
and what's even going to happen after that.
See, to me, there's no ambiguity. It didn't.
You're very much about whenever there's ambiguity, there's no ambiguity.
No, just for me, just how he reacts there at the end.
I think for me personally, I have to. My opinion is very close to Jay's there, where him doing the whole fake smile kind of harkens back to earlier where he was just trying to push through it.
There are other reasons that he could have done the fake smile. I'm not
also,
saying that it's not guaranteed, but
this is where I respect the layers of this film, because Woo Jin says to him, not a lot of people are this susceptible, which suggests to me that yes, they could be susceptible and that it worked on it, but it also opens that up to that. And just with everything this man has suffered, this is going to sound just monstrous. I don't like the idea that he isn't suffering at the end. With everything that got put to and through him.
Well, at best, he's living in ignorance, and they're probably going to have a super deformed baby sometime soon. And then and there's no telling, even if the so even taking, say he was hypnotized, there's no telling how long the hypnotism might even last. Because the stuff that they found out, they eventually, all of this came through. So regardless, there's a lot of oh man, this is gonna, whatever happens is gonna end badly.
Right.
But I also think that there's something very sad about the living in the ignorance as well.
Living in denial.
I
Living
think,
in denial.
again, if Park Chan-wook, his visual metaphor and his visual storytelling is amazing. One thing we didn't mention, and it flashes so very briefly. There is a scene from Bride of Frankenstein that is one of the things he watches when it's on the camera. It's the scene where you don't see this part of it. You just see where he has the cigarette, where Dr. Pretorius gave the monster a cigarette. Odaisu smokes. He is a monster created by a monster.
Yeah.
That's just
Right.
baked in there. And what movie does that come from? Bride of Frankenstein.
Right.
There's so much just
Nice
in that
framing
1
there.
2 second clip of that thing
Right.
just being in there.
That's real deep,
It's fucking amazing.
That's really good stuff.
Everything about this is so well done. One of the reasons why, and I've been silent for a lot of this, is because a lot of what Brady said is pretty much going to mimic what I
Right.
The one difference that I knew we were going to have is you see ambiguity where I see no ambiguity, and we're going to happily disagree on that one, because I think both at the end.
With my opinion is I feel like there's a very good chance that it didn't work, and he's going to have to force himself to laugh or weep alone. But I don't think that it's 100% either way. That's how I feel usually about, I have my own theories, but I think that there is some leeway in there.
And one thing I would like to say is that for some of our audience and also for Ethan, this kind of experience shows you one thing in specific, this is just my opinion, is that you have movies and you have film. And film is art and up for interpretation. And this was art.
I thought I was supposed to be the pretentious one.
No,
And
I
then-
can be very pretentious.
Yeah, and I'll try here and just again going back. We disagree there at the end, but we agree that the line we took to get there, and no matter what it is, the ending works.
Right.
Yeah, one thing that I really like about
that's amazing to me.
Yeah, one thing I really like about this movie is like it turns the revenge, the idea of revenge movies on its head. Because oftentimes, especially in like Western places, like revenge, it's cathartic.
It's usually also a political thriller.
Yeah, probably, but it's very cathartic. Like we see this badass do these badass things, and then he finally gets the revenge that he desired. And with this, where it's building, I almost feel like this was made. Some of this was made for Western audiences because it's like you feel like, oh yeah, Odaisu is a badass, and look at all he's killing all these people, and look, he looks so cool with the suit and the tattoos.
And then it gets to like the very last, like,
and then it gets to the end, and
movie.
he is an absolute wreck.
He is broken.
He lowers himself as possible as humanly possible, and is as weak as he possibly can, because this wasn't his revenge. It was Wu Jin's revenge, and he had been thinking about this since he was in high school. So
and then even then, that revenge wasn't enough.
yeah,
That like I think this to me is
he got everything that he wanted.
This is the Unforgiven of revenge movies, and that we are completely deconstructing the brand entirely and telling a different story from this that also could have existed if you told any of these revenge stories in the way that the way the Unforgiven was told for Westerns, the way Oldboy was told for this. Because again, at the end, he got more than everything he wanted. He got the man who killed his sister in his own delusion.
Right.
This man who he is obsessed about
His whole life.
for at least 30 years.
Right.
Oh my! And he finally receives it, and it's like, no, she still wanted to die.
Yeah,
I still couldn't stop her.
Right.
yep.
I will not
I
have
am
that
not
memory
satisfied.
come out of
Yeah,
me.
it will not be
That
satiated.
memory will not come out of my brain,
Right,
so I must
yeah.
take out my. When he could have shot himself in the heart, and there's more symbology there.
Right.
Shooting yourself in the brain is. I don't want this in my brain anymore.
Right,
So it
right.
escapes out, so that it can escape out of me, so that I can finally rest.
So, Ethan, like I said at the beginning, you were the only one who hadn't watched this movie beforehand. How did you feel about this movie?
I really like this movie. I like the mystery movies, like the main character going on a journey, trying to like fit the pieces.
That's
together.
another thing.
Hero's
this
journey.
It's revenge, but it's also like revenge is usually straightforward. Like in John Wick, you know who he has to kill.
Right.
In
He
this,
knows
it's
his target.
okay. You know who. When you first watch it, you're like, okay, well, he found out who did all this in the first. Now he has to figure out why.
Yeah.
Right.
And the way he finds out everything, going to the high school, going to the nail salon, going to the internet cafe to figure out that, oh, I knew this person long before.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Well, also when it's unraveled, it's like it was a mystery for the audience, but our protagonist was spoon-fed all the information.
Yeah, like you find
Yes.
you're thinking like, oh, Daisu's so smart because he's figuring this thing and that thing out, and it's like no.
he's being led.
He was
on.
led this entire time. Like he never had a choice in any of
Ju
this.
Win wanted him
Yeah.
to find the clues. He
I apologize for being pedantic here. Wu Jin.
my apologies.
It's-
I'm being pedantic. I apologize for just.
It's a
being
little
that, but-
because like in Daisu is his first name and O is his surname.
Daisu.
Going to like the last 30 minutes and just turning everyone like everyone watching the movie like upside
Flipped.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The plot twist in a plot twist.
Yeah, we got two twists really.
Yeah.
And then even with Daisu holding the button for the pacemaker, pressing it, expecting him to die, and just to hear the tape go.
Yeah, and it's one more twist to the knife.
It's one more fuck you.
Yeah, like he was
It's
never
one more
ever
planned twist
Yeah.
of the knife.
There was
Yeah.
one
He
little
was-
detail we forgot about Mr. Park.
Okay.
About Mr. Park, like
Oh yeah, we find out that like I gave him that new like Woo Jin was like, hey, you idiot, you left her there with your enemy. Like, he was in my pocket the entire time.
Right.
I gave him that new hotel if he would cut his hand off and give it to me.
Right.
Like, he was in my employ this entire time. Like, you are so how can you protect the woman that you love with you're so stupid? Like,
Right.
It just puts Odaisu, who we thought was like, oh, this paragon, this guy
Right.
who's going to get shit done,
Right.
and it just lowers him so bad that we're like, I cannot believe that I fell for this.
He's
I
being
cannot
played.
believe.
He got played.
Yeah, and the audience got played as well because
yeah.
we were all going along like, yeah, get him, fuck up all those people, kill these people, get that hammer, do all this, and then we're like, oh shit, we were just we were all being played, every single one of us.
What happened to my protagonist that was badass?
Yeah. Oh shit, the protagonist that I was really
Protagonist
liking.
never loses.
Yeah,
The wool's been pulled over my eyes.
Yeah. One of the things that I really like that Korean cinema does when it approaches revenge, and just about all of their revenge movies, is that they show you that the revenge is not worth it.
Right.
They're almost to a T with most of the movies that I've watched about revenge that come from Korea. You pay a hefty price when you go on a mission for revenge.
You need to see Friend.
I need to see that one.
I mean, also, just very briefly, I want to bring up the Catholicism in this. So I think it's unique with the Catholicism in this because guilt is a large part of that.
Right.
And just the fact that they were at a Catholic school, they're going to be like inundated. That's a bad way to say it, but they're going to be part of like, you have this guilt and you should confess this guilt and all these other things there. So I think there's something to be played with there as well. Again, this is a very well thought out. I'll go with what you said, Jody. This is a well thought out film.
Yeah.
Like start to finish. This is not meant to, be a weekend blockbuster. This is meant to be like Alamo Draft House. Fucking,
because I mean, you really like movies that are in like not on this level, but in this vein of great storytelling and great acting and dialogue. You can't really compare it to just your average movie. It doesn't work. But I mean, you can't compare it to anything else really because you're giving it a disservice for doing so.
Yeah, it like so some other background things. There would just be times where some really famous Korean actors, Song Kang-ho, who is the dad in Parasite, and has been he worked with Park Chan-wook a lot, worked with Bong Joon-ho a lot. Like he's a very well known actor. Like he just would show up on set and just to watch the takes and like give like, okay, yeah, like he'd work with Choi Min-sik, like, hey, oh yeah, you could do this and this, or how about you do this like this way. And another guy, Lee Byung-hyun, I apologize for any of these pronunciations. He was the main character in I Saw the Devil. He just showed up on set one day. Like these people were just showing up on set, just like hanging out. And I think it's because Park Chan-wook had worked with Song Kang-ho. But yeah, like all these people were like working together, and they were like all very excited, and they worked very, very hard on this. Like it was really interesting to watch like a lot of the backgrounds, the background stuff. But yeah, so I think that wraps up our discussion. Does anybody have any final thoughts for Oldboy? Like I said, this is my favorite movie. I fucking love this movie. I know most people probably couldn't watch this all the time. I could really watch this all the time. It's not a movie that most people can do that, but I love it.
I can see myself watching it again.
Yeah.
I would probably watch it again, which would be my fourth time or fifth time watching it. I really do love the movie, and it's not that I would become desensitized to it. There's just so much other stuff that I need to get caught up on.
Yeah,
That's
I
why
was
I don't
thinking
go back to
I
films
need to
as
go
often.
and rewatch the other two movies that he did, but in the Vengeance trilogy,
I've never seen Lady Vengeance.
Lady Vengeance is very good.
Is that the third one?
That's the third one. Yeah.
What's the other one?
Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance.
Mr. Vengeance.
Symphony for okay.
Sympathy.
Sympathy.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're both very, very good. Obviously, this is my favorite of them. But yeah, so that's Oldboy. I think that's.
I recommend Oldboy. to as many people as you possibly can that can handle it.
Yeah.
I will say this: if you have friends or family that are squeamish, they are not going to be ready for this.
I would
They're
also
not.
say that the original, I can't remember, it might not be Korean. I might be getting my hairs crossed on Bangkok Dangerous because I know it's,
okay.
I know, like, sometimes people will call, like, it'll be like, okay, it's set in Bangkok, but it's not, it's not a Thai movie, it's not a Chinese movie, but it might have been. I don't remember now.
Now,
So,
I will say, I
but
was
it's
telling,
depressing.
I was telling Dylan about formerly known as Bob Shinedown,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he's interested in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very good movie. There's some really cool sequences, and like it's a really hard hitting movie, and I love it. The manga, I haven't finished. I never finished the manga because it's very hard. Like manga is just so hard to collect because you got to collect so much of it. But I read how it works out, but it's similar, but it's just not. It's not the same. But it is very interesting. I liked what I read. So that's something that you might want to check out as well.
And
you're not going to spoil anything from either one of them.
Right.
Of course, if you're this late into it, you've been spoiled everything.
You know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will just finish up with this. I need to look Brady right in the eye of this. The first time I watched this, I followed it up with Ichi the Killer.
Yeah, that's a good.
I was
That's an interesting double feature.
I was like, which one did you watch first, Jay? Because depending, one could be a cleanser for the other one.
Yeah.
Again, well, it's like, what are you cutting the PCP with? Are you cutting PCP with fentanyl or fentanyl with PCP?
I'm not gonna.
Did we even mention why we're talking about that?
PSAs?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
PSAs.
mentioned the
I
PSAs.
mentioned, but did we mention that part specifically? We have talked about this so much since last night. I can't remember if we put it on recording on this one or not.
Oh.
Yeah, that you wanted to see the PSA where Helen Hunt was on PCP.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about in this. Did we mention the PCP and fentanyl and PCP on the show right now?
I don't
do not
remember.
believe
I don't
so.
think so.
Yeah, they're cutting fentanyl with angel dust.
or they're
Yeah.
cutting
Angel dust with fentanyl.
Yeah,
We don't know
either
what's
or.
the
Yeah,
cleaner.
right,
Which
right.
one
Don't
is
know.
it?
We
We
came
don't know.
across some news footage.
Yeah.
That
Crazy.
went right back off the road. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Brady.
So our bus is plotting to its eventual station.
There may or may not be some people with purple umbrellas.
Yeah. If you see a woman walking towards you with a purple umbrella, you better get used to the TV.
Yes.
That's some Odaisu advice right there.
Advice. Odaisu tip of the day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I thought you were gonna go Odaisu Advaisu.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Daisu, my Daisu.
Yeah.
We're approaching racism. Let's stop while we're not
Yeah.
offending.
So that's going to be our show. Jay, tell us somebody that else that they can listen to if they're interested. So
Whiskey and Yet to Be Determined is a show with Michael Hill and Jason Holder, where formerly they would ingest a wonderful libation, sometimes a non-wonderful libation, and then they would talk about wrestling. But night one of WrestleMania was so good. How could it possibly go wrong? It did.
yep.
It did.
Immediately.
And, yeah. So we might start calling them Travelers on the Omnibus East Coast, but for right now, it's still Whiskey and Wrestling. Check them out on all major
Yeah,
podcast
now
distributors.
Soon to be called Whiskey and Retro Wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As John Oliver on Last Week Tonight said, now WWE is run by Salvador Dali if he had a horrible reaction to bee stings.
And the bees were stinging him with fucking
Not the
steroids.
bees.
Yeah. Not the bees.
Oh,
not the
they're in
bees.
my mustache.
Silence Your Cell Phones is a podcast / YouTube show that is put on by Kevin Shelton and Jared Hubbard. I got them right.
Yes, you
ha
did.
ha ha!
Good job.
I know your names.
Yes.
Gold star.
They talk about movies. They talk about movies. They don't talk about film. The film is our purview.
We took it from you boys from Birmingham.
You could have the movies. You could have that. No, I'm picking.
Go watch your marbles.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
So
Meet me outside the Grand.
yeah. Yeah, you can't see it. I'm furiously waving for you to come outside.
He was all tanked on margarita coolers.
Yeah.
Jody and I, during the intermission, we were walking to the. It's like I meant what I said. It wasn't just that I come hither. It was the Rock, like
Just bring it.
I just
thing.
imagine him like whisper, yelling at you like, "Hey!"
Gee, like, oh God. So yeah, check them out on YouTube. They talk about all kinds of movies and TV shows, and I think they have a more recent bent, but they also will talk about kind of whatever they want to talk about. So if that sounds interesting to you, if you want to hear two more white boys' opinions, check them out.
Speaking of intermittent podcasts, my show Fearology, which eventually I will record at some point, I've got 20 irons in the fire.
I was about to say we've got like 8 episodes planned.
Right.
We have episodes planned. We have like other stuff going on around us that we say we're going to do, but
You've
then
got like 3 podcasts planned.
Yes.
I've got a lot of things. Sometime in the next year, me and Holder might be doing a podcast. I'm currently working on a new music project, a future.
You heard it here first.
A future YouTube project.
Oh shit!
And an episode of Fearology at some point, also in the future.
Yeah,
whenever that happens,
definitely coming.
Future events will affect you in the future.
Yes,
I will never do Plan 9 from Outer Space because it's not a horror movie.
Yeah.
Now someone's got to win the quiz next time we do a quiz and say Plan 9, baby.
I don't want to watch Plan 9.
I don't want
it's not
to
gonna
either.
Be me.
I don't know.
No, you know what? You could avoid watching Plan 9 and watch Ed Wood. It's a much better movie, and it's about him making Plan 9.
Yeah, it's actually a good Tim Burton.
It's
movie.
a really good Tim Burton movie. Mm-hmm. That's Fearology.
He used to do those.
Fearology, where podcasts are heard.
Yeah.
The Completed Podcast, a podcast hosted by a majority of Team Metamorph, Christopher Vega, Brandon Scott Tanner, Brandon Smith, and other
Pro Magic player Brandon Scott Tanner.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tanner
shit.
Tanner qualified.
Yes.
Tanner qualified for the Pro Tour.
Yep.
The boys got back from San Diego. Congratulations,
The boys are back in town.
The boys are back.
I don't know
in
if
town.
y'all knew that.
Yep, mhm.
Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Dude.
That song was not copyright infringed upon on one of the PSAs we watched last night.
Yeah, the Completed Podcast. They go through their own personal takes on competitive Magic, talk about upcoming sets, their personal journeys and road trip stories for Magic events. Again, that is the Completed Podcast. Again, congratulations, Brandon.
Congrats, brother.
Congrats, man.
Congrats.
Kevin Gallo, a.k.a. Ronin Rooster on Twitch, and Kevin Gallo on YouTube, bringing you every Tuesday some of the best and brightest RPGs in the world, whether it is the dark future of Cyberpunk Red or the wonderfully wonderful future, past, present future of Pokeroll, the unofficial Pokemon role-playing game. Again, that is every Tuesday on Twitch with VODs to follow on YouTube.
I got a wacky idea. You may or may not want to cut this. Next week on Travelers on the Omnibus, we'll be having a chalkboard of the top 5 horror movie villains of all time.
I ain't Moses or Ramses, but I want to say, so let it be written, so let it be done.
I'm cool with that.
I like that idea.
All right.
I'm cool with that.
There you go.
It is
Sounds
set in
good.
stone.
All right. Next time, chalkboard, the top 5 horror movie villains of all time.
Yeah, we had that planned out from the beginning of the episode.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, totally. I totally just didn't think about it just now.
yeah. Definitely.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's going to be it for Travelers on the Omnibus. I am Brady Davis.
I am Jody Kite.
I am Ethan Skinner.
I am James McCarthy.
Don't watch out for purple umbrellas.
And be more nerd.
Yeah.
More nerd.
Thanks for stopping by and enjoying the ride. Oh, we forgot about McNarb Gaming.